20. Team that scores the 2 points gets it right back, and there goes Ebner. Tristan Ebner in a foot race. Can he do it again? Yes, he can. His second kickoff return for a touchdown tonight. His 4th overall.
Sikkim 365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Prescott is able to stay up to the end zone. It is picked. Seahawks take over.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
From the 37, that one. Now Egner on their own bubble. And the big tight end. Put the ball on the ground. It's loose. And Baylor says they have it at the 49. Do they? Yes.
I think it was the hit by Elliott Coffey that knocked the ball loose as well.
Coffey made him cough it up.
Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
All right, here we go. When many sports converge today, the NBA Finals start tonight between Miami and LeBron James and the Lakers, Anthony Davis and company. And, of course, baseball's playoff, 8 games today. Astros they're close to knocking out the Twins early. In the bottom of the 8th, lead Minnesota 2-1. They win today. That series against Minnesota is over. Is that the number 1 seed, the Twins?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, I thought the Astros were the last team to get in, and if that's the case, they just went right into Minnesota and took care of business. 2-1 Houston. There's some other scores. A's are bouncing back against the White Sox. We're watching a couple of games on the flat screens here at the broadcast studio. Craig
The
Smoke.
Rays were the number 1 seed.
Oh, okay.
The
All
Twins
right.
were the 3 seed.
3 seed, okay. So that's not quite, but still, that's 2-1, bottom of the 8th. Astros trying to sew that up. Elliott Coffey, you just heard a highlight. That was Paul producing the highlight from the beginning. He'll join us at 3:30 today. Also today, Shane Anderson and Don Hyde with the regular Wednesday from La Vega and Connolly and La Vega. Ronnie Lott, Pro Football Hall of Famer. A lengthy discussion with him today at 4. Olin Buchanan on Texas A&M. John Machota, the Cowboys. Kwame Cavill. Waco High had a nice win to open up their year against West Mesquite. So we'll hear from a couple of Baylor players in just a moment. Jalen Petrie and R.J. Sneed were available to the media. Anything in particular you heard from them today? Either one of you heard from them today that jumped out at you? First of all, I like the fact R.J. Sneed had Tyquan Thornton's back.
Yeah.
On the not much in the opening game.
Yeah, and you know, it's a great answer about it, and you know, they didn't, like, my point on that has been, like, they didn't need Tyquan Thornton. Yeah, it's a bummer we didn't get to see him make a catch, but you know, that's a complaint you have when you lose a game. You're like, why didn't you get the ball to Tyquan Thornton?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you get the ball to Tyquan Thornton when you won a game by 33 points? Then I think at that point you're ridiculously splitting hairs. I did like, you know, what Jalen Petrie had to say about his move to the star position and why it fits him so well. He's a really interesting kid to listen to talk to. So, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I thought the question to RJ about Tyquan, I didn't really get it because, like you were saying, I mean, it's been one game. And so, like, he just didn't register much in the first game. But, you know, like, they won by a billion points. So who cares? Like, who cares as long as there's numbers being put up by somebody? You know, it doesn't have to be everybody every week or else there's an issue. So, I don't know. I thought that was kind of a weird question, but I thought it was handled very well. And, yeah, just the game plan just didn't call for Tyquan to be all that involved in. Do you want to, you know, have him go for 175 yards on 3, 4, 5 plays and have a big game against Kansas, or would you rather hold him back and then have him erupt against somebody like Texas or Oklahoma? I know what my answer to that would be, and I'm sure he'll be plenty involved when all is said and done.
Yeah, when they need him, and he'll be fine. He's a tremendous, dynamic, explosive player for them as well. So that's that. In fact, let's go ahead. R.J. Sneed, who is he the guy this year who's their possession receiver?
I think he was that guy at times last year. Mims was really the possession guy, but I felt like RJ made some of the tougher catches by anybody not named Denzel Mims. So, yeah, I think he's there. I think his catch from the game last Saturday to move the chains was a very, very big catch that probably gets overlooked a little bit because of the kick returns and squirrel and, you know, whatever else. Terrell and the plays he made on defense. But I feel like that R.J. Sneed catch, which was a tough catch to make, really was a huge play, led to them scoring, right, to tie it up, and then then it was pretty much off to the races after that. So, yeah, I'd say he's their possession guy now.
We're on until 6. We have plenty to get to, including Hall of Famer Ronnie Lott, the high school coaches, as I mentioned, from Conley and La Vega. We'll check in with A&M, the Cowboys, and much more. Also hear from Kwame Cavill, Waco High. They have a test this week. They play Hutto. Hutto was just drilled by College Station, but College Station is an elite team in Class 5A. So here's R.J. Sneed on his teammate and the dynamic, explosive Tyquan Thornton.
I wouldn't really say they took away Tyquan. It just we weren't connecting as a whole unit, and I don't think it's frustrated because we were winning and it was a good team win, and that's the type of player he is. He's a team player, and he understands that it might not be his day every day, but as long as we win, that's the most important thing.
So, and it is, and next week or this week in West Virginia, who knows who's going to be the one. I really like, though, we hear a lot about and we discuss quite a bit of Gavin Holmes because of his story. There's another young man that's been through quite a bit. His mother, Monique, of course, has battled cancer. She's phenomenal, like one of the team moms, like R.J. Sneed's mom is or Sheila Henderson is. And Jared Atkinson, it was just a single catch, but it was a tippy-toe catch on the sideline. It was good to see him because you talk about patience.
Yeah,
he's had it.
Yeah, he's had it, and I think they've had patience with him too. I think that would be fair to say, right? Just not so much this staff necessarily, but with the Rule staff. Jared came in with a pretty good amount of expectation. He wasn't necessarily the top wide receiver in his recruiting class, but he was a part of a group of guys that you felt like because of his measurables and just the little mentions that he would have, whether it was Matt Rule or even Grove before that or whatever, you just expected maybe at this point for him to be a bit more involved numerically, like as far as the statistics and things that he's put up. And his dad actually tweeted at me when I tweeted the sort of viral John Lovett tweet. Jared Atkinson was running down there too.
Yeah.
And I just didn't respond because I know that's a proud papa or whatever, and Jared was involved, so I'll give him credit for that. But he was involved about halfway through the play. My point with John was that John was from the moment the ball touched Treston's hands through the end of the play. So, yeah, he was out there on special teams, blocking, and he is a great story.
254-339-1122 is the phone number. It's also the text number, 254-339-1122. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, I'm David Smoke. We're here again, as I said, till 6 o'clock. And Armstrong Sims runs the mothership. Great to have Armstrong with us today. JD's supposed to be dropping by a little bit later on. We're going to discuss the upcoming schedule of what we have when it comes to the postgame. We will do a postgame show as soon as the game is over, whether Baylor's playing in Waco or they're playing in Morgantown, or they're playing in Austin, or they're playing in Norman. Wherever they are, we will have an immediate post-game show, taking your calls and text messages, and we'll do that every single time that Baylor plays, including this Saturday, the 11 o'clock kick against West Virginia in Morgantown. The number again is 254-339-1122. We'd love to get your feedback on just really a Baylor and the game with West Virginia. And does the fact there are no fans make this less stressful for you leading up to the game, or who you think West Virginia might be? Now, Jalen Petrie was everywhere. We know what Terrell Bernard did. We also saw, we saw the ability to disrupt from William Bradley King. He tees it up, he goes, right? He goes flat out. He's got that ability. That's why he's here. That's why they also were excited about him being here. But Jalen Petrie, one of the great stories, if there's ever a book written about Baylor football in the decade of 2010 to 2019, even though this is 2020, would there be a chapter or some sort of a maybe chapter of Jalen Petrie?
I think there has to be a chapter on this. Even if you did the volumes of Baylor football, you'd have to say Jalen Petrie, at the 2016 class of he stayed. I mean, he decided to stay, and for no other reason than he just loved the university. He liked it was a fit for him. He stayed when he didn't even know what was going to happen. That's faith. That is absolute faith in, and what's in the future. And I don't know. Okay, I don't have to guess that most people wouldn't, because most people didn't. There are plenty of people, that coaching staff, essentially stopped recruiting because it would have been they knew it would have been disingenuous for them to offer people, because they knew they were all going to have other jobs the next year,
or so they hoped.
They hoped, but they were not going to be there.
No, they knew.
And so I know that that staff took a lot of flack for that, but I thought that was actually kind of honorable of them not to just play the game of, you need to come to Baylor, when they knew that they were all going to go to.
It's not like assistants who know their days are numbered because they're not any good. They're going through like their third consecutive losing season.
Or an assistant who gets a guy to sign on signing day and then takes a new job the very next day.
Exactly, and that happens all the time. Jalen Petrie had 7 tackles, 4 solos in the win against Kansas, also broke up a pass. And he and had a couple of other plays, in fact, behind the line of scrimmage as well. He discussed this name, this position, the star.
I love the versatility of the position. I feel like coaches put me in a lot of different, areas of the field, whether I'm blitzing, covering, in the box, or deep in halves. Like, I feel like they are utilizing my talents very well and putting me in a lot of different positions to, make plays. So I'm very thankful for that.
So that's and he is making plays, and that's kind of like one of those that this defense, that's a key. Last year, Blake Lynch, among others, right, were the ones that kind of had a chance to be spotlighted. This year, the star position, something we hear all about.
Yeah, we do, and I know that everybody gets, I guess, hung-ups maybe. I don't know if hung-up's the right term, but they've fallen over the lone commit and that whole storyline, and it's a great storyline, but it's not my favorite one of Jalen Petrie. It's not even my second favorite one of Jalen Petrie. My first would probably be just the player and the representative that he's become, all that he's involved with off the field, the way his teammates seem to love him. I mean, he's obviously a very good guy for the program, so that's number one. Number two, he has exceeded expectations, and that's one of my favorite things about him, is that people forget when he was a part of that 2017 class that had Kedrick James, who ended up at Alabama from La Vega and then now is at SMU, and Kellen Mond and Hezekiah Jones, who are at A&M, and Jamon Osborne, who was at A&M, and so many others that all ended up breaking away before I guess they were even – I guess Grove was maybe announced. It doesn't matter, but Jalen Petrie stayed out of all those guys. But he was not expected to be a star. He was not expected to be a big impact guy. I remember this discussion revolving around him. It was like, oh, it's great that he's staying on, but of all the guys that we had, he's the least talented maybe of all of them. And so all he's done is just work his tail off and turned into a standout now on defense. And I think that's what I like more, along with what he is off the field, than being the lone commit, because he's far surpassed that.
No,
now.
yeah, that's just part of it. Now, what his legacy, he hopes, is not just the fact he remained loyal, is he wants to be known as a guy that was a hell of a player, because on that defense, when you have Tenerell Bernard, he's going to be the one that gets the attention. He's the one, and then William Bradley King's going to get a lot of attention because he's going to make some plays. But Jalen Petrie's name, he was on the PA announcer's lips throughout the game.
Yeah, he was very, very active, did his job. I mean, he's supposed to be. So that was great to see from him, and hopefully we see a lot more of that.
All right, Armstrong, can you dial up the fourth one, Jalen Petrie, on what he has seen from West Virginia? Do you have that available? Let me know when you do, because that's who they're playing.
Yeah.
Is this game, they could go in there and lose 31-10. We don't know what's going to happen. But does this have the same feel that any other time they've been to West Virginia?
No, there's no drunken hillbillies there. I mean, it's
11 o'clock as well. It's not a night game. It's not Halloween. It's not Thursday night. But you're right.
I say that lovingly. There's no loud.
Yeah, you got to clarify that.
Yeah. I say that lovingly. There's no wild students there. Now, look, if West Virginia wins that game, those kids are going to burn a couch in the streets. But they're
couch?
Singular? Couches, yeah. I wonder if it's an honor to have your couch selected as the one that burns.
Hey, when you go buy one before the semester starts, that looks like one we could burn.
Hey, guys, we can't sit down, but we were chosen.
Yeah.
I do think. I mean, it's going to be way different, because that is a hostile place to play. Whether you're Baylor or whether you're Kansas, or you're anybody, West Virginia is one of the toughest places to play in college football, because Morgantown, West Virginia is one of those towns like Ames, Iowa, or Lincoln, Nebraska, that it has made the agreement that when there is something going on here, athletic-wise, in our little burg, we are going to rock it out.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
I don't know if you compare them to the fans in Lincoln.
But how Lincoln, like,
I know, it's the only thing
Lincoln,
going on that day.
Yeah,
it's all you got.
But then they do that for volleyball sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's all they got.
Yeah, I bet there's a lot of funny tales of kids waking up the day after a big West Virginia win, going to the living room, and then going, where's the couch?
Yeah.
And then discovering what they were up to the night before.
Or if they're in the right living room.
Yeah, or if they're in the right home. Yeah, for sure. But with West Virginia, no, I don't feel like the buzz of going to Morgantown. I don't think that that's the threat that it typically would be. I think this just comes down to who plays better and who coaches better. And so who's going to coach better, Dave Aranda and his staff or Neil Brown and their staff? And we know that Neil Brown is, he put it on Dave Aranda before. He was the first to mention that this week whenever Neil Brown was over at Troy and Aranda was still at LSU. So I don't know. I kind of picked up from Aranda that still bothers him a little bit in a way.
He brought it up for a reason.
And, I think he's going to be geared up and ready to go, but I don't think environment plays much of a factor, and that's why I think they're set up really nicely to go get their first ever win in Morgantown. I don't even remember.
They're like 0-4 there.
Yeah, so like their first ever win in Morgantown. I mean, I think that it's set up really well for you to accomplish that this Saturday.
All right, so here is Jalen Petrie, who we just mentioned, and what he was talking about with the star position. They have been able to kind of digest a little bit of West Virginia, and this is what Jalen Petrie has seen so far.
Initially, when I watch the film, I see a team that wants to run the ball and wants to, impose their will on the defense, and also a team that likes to take deep shots when you try to crowd in the box. So, I feel like West Virginia is a good matchup, and we're looking forward to compete with them on Saturday.
Well, the West Virginia opened up with a big win against Eastern Kentucky. That was expected. What was it, 3 weeks ago or so, 4 weeks ago, 56-10, and then 27-13 in Stillwater. Oklahoma State the week before looked lethargic against Tulsa, but they can also give you some trouble. Paul, you brought that up with Philip Montgomery, but it looked like Mike Gundy and his guys kind of tweaked everything, tightened up the screws, so to speak, and had a nice win against West Virginia 27-13 this past weekend.
Yeah, I didn't get to catch a whole lot of that game, and as I checked in on it, Oklahoma State was pretty much in control whenever I did check in on it. But, that was a really nice win for the Cowboys, obviously. They were up huge at halftime, and that's something you'd love to see. But, no, West Virginia's got plenty of weapons. You got to worry about Letty Brown and Winston Wright and guys like that. But so does Baylor. So I think there's, again, a prime opportunity this weekend to go in there and get your first win at Milan-Puskar Stadium and walk away, 2-0. I don't think it's going to come easy by any means. We know West Virginia typically plays Baylor pretty well. They beat the mess out of them 2 years ago and nearly upset the magical season last year, if not for a blocked field goal late in the game and, some of that just magic they had throughout that run over 2019. But they're beatable. That's my point. They're beatable, and they're playing at home, but home's not as intimidating as it typically is. So I liked what I saw from Baylor last week. Hopefully that they've just kept their heads down and realized, hey, it's one game. It was only Kansas, and we looked good, but that's all in the past now. And I'm sure that's what the coaches are preaching, and let them go rip it up this Saturday.
Oklahoma State ran for 203 yards, 41 carries. That's a 5-yard pop. West Virginia was held to 68 yards on 42 carries. Now, sometimes I think sacks might have been involved in that, but they did throw for 285 yards in the loss. Oklahoma State didn't throw. They threw the ball 22 times. West Virginia had to throw it more and just didn't have much efficiency with it. So,
Oklahoma State also didn't have Spencer Sanders.
Yeah.
That's true. That's absolutely true. I don't care. When I sit there and have a team that you cover or a team you like or a team you don't like, if they win somewhere, it doesn't matter. Well, yeah, but that was the year of COVID. No, you haven't won in Morgantown. No matter when that first one will come, maybe it's Saturday, you take it, you move on, and you try not to let things extend because right now it looks like that's much more than a winnable game than they've had. Since the Baylor team in 2014 went there and fell down after the big one against TCU and lost by 14.
Look, if I ask a girl out on a date 8 times and she says yes on the 8th time and I was 0 for the first 7, I don't care what the circumstances are that I got the yes. I'm going to get look, I'll worry about the other stuff on the back end, but look, I'm going to be happy that I finally got the yes.
Resiliency,
right?
man.
Yeah.
Perseverance.
Yeah.
Now, Heather Dinich was saying that Larry Scott today suggested the college football playoff expand to 8 teams. This is interesting because it was like a day after a column about Hey, Larry, why don't you fighting for your conference when it comes to the college football playoff? Other commissioners, not so much. They're not interested in that. A lot of players who opted out have come back. We saw Michigan, Ohio State, among others. Most likely the kid from Purdue, Rondale Moore, Minnesota's wide receiver. Micah Parsons of Penn State, hell of a player, still remains out for the 2020 season.
Yeah, on the playoff thing, I think it basically came down to, of all the years to try and change, I mean, I guess it's kind of like glass half full, glass half empty. There's probably some people that go, this is the perfect time to change because everything's changing and might as well throw another thing in there. But there's also the other side, and I'm there of, I mean, they're just trying to get games on. We're really going to try to expand the playoff in a year where we don't even know if there's going to be bowl games. We don't even know who's going to be still standing in 2 months. You know what I mean? Like, it's all more positive and feels like it's going to be able to be completed more now than ever. But at the same time, I don't know if this is the year, with as wonky as it has been and people not even playing complete schedules or having fans in the stands, that you want to go with the 8-team playoff. But maybe I'm wrong. I would love to hear from people tell me why I'm wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
254-339-1122. We do have a couple of texts. Cowboys note Tyron Smith was back at practice today doing individual drills. That's better than he's been the last couple of weeks. Also, DeMarcus Lawrence was not at the portion open to reporters. His knee has an issue there.
He was listed officially DNP
Okay.
today. So, but on the other side of the 8-team playoff thing, like, I think Larry Scott's is like, this is the perfect year to do it because now we'll have the excuse to tell the committee, like, you don't have, he said it, they don't have non-conference games to evaluate. Everybody's playing a different number of schedules. So, but that's also, I'm going to give you these reasons why I'm doing this, and I'm also saying this is the reason that the Pac-12 should be in.
Well, but you're doing it selfishly, and that's fine. But
that's
say
his job.
That's exactly Bob Bowlesby. One of the reasons Baylor fans and even some TCU fans, although they weren't as outspoken in 2014, is because, remember, he took exception to me bringing that up. That it's like somebody make a decision. You wonder, even if it would have been the wrong decision in your team's favor, just make a decision. But he really couldn't. He told us why his hands were handcuffed, and Baylor fans will never understand it or agree with it, and that's fine as well. But yeah, it's like, if you're the SEC commissioner, your argument is there should be 2 of our teams in the 4. It's never we will have to find a way to get in. That's automatic. At Big Ten, when they're playing, it's pretty much you're going to get one, not always. And then the ACC, until Clemson came popping through with their little run, they were always kind of in the same boat as the Pac-12 and the Big 12.
Yeah, and David Shaw said that, you know, it was something they wanted to put out there, and said whether they eventually go to 6 or they go to 8, it's going to happen. Like, it's going to expand at some point. So they're just trying to be very slow and methodical with it, and maybe this is one of those first steps in eventually reaching that point. I think it's smart on the part of the people in college football to start it off the way they did with the 4 teams, but I think it becomes glaringly obvious every year that you're always missing 1 to 2. And I just never have been on board with having the Power 5 and a 4-team playoff. I just think that if you're the Power 5, your champion should be in the playoff. I don't care if the Pac-12's down or the SEC's up or whatever. If you are one of the champions of the 5 major conferences, you deserve to be in the playoff.
Yeah, because it's all cyclical. It's no different than the AL East or the NFC East, which is terrible this year. There was a time they were great for 20 years.
We joke on the Pac-12 now, but it wasn't, I mean, it's long ago now, but USC was beating people's brains in, you know, up until Texas knocked them off.
And that was 15 years ago,
and it was a long time ago. But,
and Oregon was a part of this mix.
Oregon's in the mix, so Washington's had their year.
Boy, the Big 12 does need to get in it. Not only that, but win a damn game in the playoff, don't they?
Well, maybe somebody besides Oklahoma needs to get in then, because they're the only ones that have had a chance, and they've blown a tire every time they've appeared in it.
The Georgia game was spectacular 2 years ago. And that was overtime or double overtime, 57,
crazy
whatever.
Game,
That's not like they went in there and like laid an egg.
And I'll say this,
but they have many times.
And I actually, the column that's on Sick 'em Through 65 today, I wrote about the NCAA changing things. This is one of the things I would change is expand the playoff, and then, you know, add some more legitimacy to your choice process. And if you do that, and you have it all the Power 5, and you have 3 at-large teams, which could be at least 1 group of 5 team. It could be 3 group of 5 teams, depending on the year. You could have, I mean...
don't put a number on it. Just who deserves to be in it.
If Boise State, BYU, and UCF are all 12-0, then, heck, put them in. I mean, like, they're the best teams. But
I think that... I don't know what the TV viewership would be like, but one of the things that made the NCAA men's basketball tournament was Cinderella.
Yeah, and
it wasn't just Georgetown against Villanova back in the 80s or Phi-Slamma-Jamma, North Carolina, and it was the first weekend is what made the men's tournament.
I also think it would take a lot of pressure off the committee to have to release rankings every single week.
God, because almost annoying.
Because it's annoying to us. Well, I mean, what if you're on the committee and you've got to say, knowing that there's a team that you could say, this is the best team in the country, they could haul off and lose 4 games between the time you said that and then the end of the thing. So
there's a sponsor, though. It's money.
Yes, I know. It's money, but take the pressure off the committee, find something. There's another way to get that money. And they don't have to, that way they don't have to come up with and send some poor lamb out to slaughter and say, hey, why is Alabama worse
was it Jeff
than,
Long?
Was Jeff Long for a long
poor
time?
Guy. Who was
it?
Was
Kirby
he the first
Hocutt
one?
now? Yeah,
but it just to the point where they just contradicted the week before, where it was quality of play, strength of schedule, controlling the game. That was one. I mean, and it was just a way to just frustrate the heck out of anybody.
There's only one answer to the question. Our experts, who we feel are the best people in the country to have this job right now, have decided after hours and hours of film study and discussion that these are the 4 best teams.
Not why, other than just overall pie.
Yes.
The entire pie.
Look, so whether it's
everything.
R.C. Slocum and Condoleezza Rice and Tom Osborne and all these people who know more about football than we do said, and I'm making it broad, but like, we trust to do this, made this decision. That's what we're doing.
No reason to explain it. In fact, that's what they should do. Release the poll and just not appear in front of anybody. All right, good start to the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Also, JT and Pikes Peak. Paul, personal experience with that, talking about the couches or waking up. Oh, the eight times.
Yeah.
Okay.
No comment.
When we come back, Elliot Coffey, former Baylor linebacker. Of course, his father, Ken Coffey, played at Southwest Texas State, played in the NFL with the Redskins as well. He will join us. He's a part of the Baylor Network pregame show. He's a part of this show coming up next, along with, then we'll focus in on Connolly and LaVega coming off the byes, and then Pro Football Hall of Famer Ronnie Lott, among many others today as we take you to 6 on Sikkim 365 Radio. PettyClinicLowT.com. Dr. Kent Petty can do one thing for you, make you feel better, add a little bit to that, help you become the high-performance man that you want to be, add a little bit of how you find that out. Well, maybe you've been sluggish or lethargic. I had a young man who was in his mid-30s tell me the other day that he finally went to get his testosterone checked. He didn't say where he went, but if you want to go and get your testosterone checked, well, you go get blood work, get a discounted rate, tell him Smokey sent you, go PettyClinicLowT.com. He went and got his blood work, and he was stunned how low his testosterone level was. And then you can be put in a program to help raise your testosterone level and also help you become the high-performance man that you want to be. Energy, endurance, ED, sex drive, all of the above, or just maybe one compartment of everything that allows you to feel better. Yes, you still need to sleep enough. You need to eat well. You need to exercise if that's something you do. But your testosterone can sometimes counter all of that or override any of that. And so why not get your blood work checked? And Dr. Kent Petty can get your blood work checked and get you at a discounted rate, look at the levels, and then put you in a program, if necessary, to help you become the high-performance man you want to be. PettyClinicLowT.com.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom-ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi. Great price chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco. House-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
What you do in privacy is your own business. What you do in public with your truck, well, that's our business at Pickup Outfitters. In your garage, it's okay for your truck to parade around in the nude with no accessories. Hey, this is still America. But when you bring your truck out in public, it's just common decency to put an outfit on your truck. And that's where we come in at Pickup Outfitters. Put a cover on that bed. Cover your rear end with a bumper and a hitch, for goodness sakes. There are women and children on the roads. And guys, don't leave your tools exposed. Put them in a toolbox. Be proud of your truck and stand tall with a lift kit. Or improve your truck's posture with a leveling kit. Add some class to your pickup with new wheels and tires. Or dress up for a date with your new RV or boat with a fifth wheel or a receiver hitch. At Pickup Outfitters, we're dedicating to making the roads decent for all Central Texans. So when taking your truck out in public, remember your manners and accessorize it properly with an outfit from Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
From the 37, that one. Now Agnew on their own bubble. And a big tight end. Put the ball on the ground. It's loose. And Baylor says they have it at the 49. Do they? Yes.
I think it was the hit by Elliott Coffey that knocked the ball loose as well.
Coffey made him cough it up.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on Sikkim 365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
You know, there's a lot of players who get credit for helping Baylor launch from what was that long drought, and then all of a sudden in 2010 they go bowling, 11 they go 10-3 and have the Heisman Trophy winner, and that launched them into Big 12 championships. And then even last year, one of the names, Elliott Coffey, linebacker. His father, Ken, of course, played at Southwest Texas State and in the NFL. I've known him for quite some time. He was at Tyler Junior College at one point. Elliott Coffey does a really good job on the pre- and post-game shows for the Baylor Alumni Network shows for Baylor, and he joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. It was great to see both you and Seth last Saturday in the press box. Elliott, when you watched Baylor's defense after a couple of series, what did you see as someone who played on that side of the football?
Man, those guys are fast and physical, and they look like they have a chip on their shoulder. You can tell that they're coached incredibly well. You can tell that, you know, everything that carried over from the Rule era and Coach Snow, they didn't lose anything, you know, particularly with a team that hasn't had a chance to play against somebody or really even get a full offseason. They looked in midseason form, and I was incredibly impressed by what I saw.
Elliott, the offense, took a minute to get going, and it wasn't quite as high flying as maybe people expected it to be through the air. But the running game with three starters out in the offensive line was fantastic.
Yeah, no, I was incredibly impressed. One thing that I think stood out is John Lovett's ability to run between the tackles. I think that's probably the number one thing that we've missed with this offense is the ability to snap the ball on first down, get 3 or 4 yards right between tackles. And so, Treston Edmonds is going to be able to stretch it. Charlie eventually is going to have enough weapons at the receiver position to stretch the field, but to be able to run the ball and to demand 3 to 4 yards per carry, if we can do that, we're going to win a whole lot of football games this year.
Elliot, Terrell Bernard is just a freak show. I mean, the guy he was so active, and he just seems like he knows exactly what he's doing on every play. He knows where the ball's going. I mean, he's in top form right now, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, that guy's a heck of a lot better football player than I was. I can tell you that. He just gets it. And I'll tell you what, on top of him just understanding the game, even as a freshman out there playing, really understood the game, but you can tell he's gotten bigger. He looks like he may have even gotten a little bit quicker, but his reads are as quick as they've ever been, and he's just got a mean streak to him, too. He's out there getting after it.
We hear about the William Bradley King and what he did at Arkansas State and what he could provide at Baylor, and he's basically is their pass. Not that Bernard can't get a sack and others, sure, but he is that perfect role, right? He's going to be the guy that when it's 3rd and 8 or 2nd and 15, whatever, he can just tee off and go for it. Your thoughts about what you saw from him on the edge?
Yeah, well, I think the big thing going into the game is that you just heard so much about Ashton Logan in the offseason. And so that was a position that we expected WBK to walk into and just kind of take. And what you're seeing is that there's a lot that they're demanding from that position. There were times where he was dropping back into coverage. Mm-hmm. There were times where he was setting the edge. But really and truly, like you said, he's a pass rusher. And so to be able to show all of those different positions, not only is that going to go a long way to confuse offenses this year, but for his draft stock to show all of those different things he can do, man, that dude's a weapon. I don't know what you guys saw out there from him, but I was impressed by what I saw.
Yeah, I was too. And Ashton Logan's a great story, too. A local kid from Temple, had to kind of wait his time. And a lot of guys who are making plays right now, the Petries and others, have had to wait their time, and he got a chance to do that as well.
Yeah. Elliot, what did you see that you think they need to clean up specifically?
Well, I'll tell you, I think the area of question marks right now is really at the 2 safety positions and the corner opposite Raleigh Tejada. 3rd down, you saw a little bit of cushion. We're running a pretty traditional cover 3 back there in the Big 12. That's what you got to run. And, there were just times where it seemed like we were a little bit out of sorts and just playing too much of a cushion. I understand on the 3rd and 10, you want to make sure that nobody gets behind you. But even, Jalen Daniels missed a couple throws out there on Saturday. It should have been easy touchdowns. And, the more we dig into this Big 12 schedule, you just want to see guys in a position to compete. We understand that people are going to score. You're playing against some of the most talented receivers in the country. But what you want to see is guys that are in position, guys that understand the scheme, and then ultimately make big plays down the road. And so that's probably my area that I'm watching right now is how do these safeties handle having people streak up the seams, and then how do corners handle 3rd and long.
So you're watching, I would imagine, a lot of the same film. I mean, obviously just one game under Aranda so far that Neil Brown's watching. What do you think he's thinking while watching that Baylor defense about what the Mountaineers might potentially try to do?
Yeah, I mean, so they run a pretty traditional RPO, right? And so I think what you do is if they can establish the run early to the point where the safeties feel the need to be in run support, then he can throw it over. I would hit the seams. I would blow the seams up. I would put the safeties in one-on-one positions until they proved that they could stop it. And then, that's really what I would hit. I would just challenge the safeties, and then that Kalen Barnes, blanking on my young guy's
Mark
name.
Milton?
Mark Milton. I would just, until they show me that they can go out there and they can hold down those sides of the field, I would challenge them.
Yeah, and Christian Morgan, I kept thinking he was going to be out for the first half, but you guys convinced me yesterday that since he missed the second half, he's already done with that.
He took care of that pretty early.
Yeah, but it's interesting though that Elliot, that you had those missiles. Obviously, Graylin Arnon was a ball hawk, but you had the Chris Miller, and every time he went up to force a tackle, you were waiting for something like yellow. And that mentality, I still like the mentality. They got to clean that up. And even Dave Aranda said he had a conversation with Christian Morgan. It's kind of a tough thing to do when a guy starts to slide at the very end. But if you're aiming at the chest, you're not going to maybe hit the face. But they still seem to have, as you mentioned, fast and physical. They fly to the ball, and they do damage when they get there.
Yeah, no, it's a hard one. And the thing about Christian Morgan, I gave him a little bit of a hard time on the post-game show about getting the targeting, but after going back and watching the film, man, it's just a bang-bang play. Like, you don't want to tell a guy to, hey, slow down. Chris Miller, even with all of his targetings last year, you still didn't want him to slow down, right? You still want him to be that force that people question when they're running across the middle, or even if they get in the open field, as Chris Cummins won. And so Christian Morgan is going to have to be that enforcer guy for us. Man, I guess the big thing is just understand that it's a quarterback, right? You can hit a quarterback, just make sure you don't hit him up, above the head or above the shoulder pads, and you'll be fine. But yeah, fast and physical, man. It's refreshing to see, especially with 9 new faces out there, that we kind of carried that same mentality that we had last year.
Do you expect to see them mix up the blitzes a little bit this week, or you think continue to do that on defense, or is that maybe just a matchup thing?
Oh man, I think it depends on how much we can get out of our base defense. I think you try to show as little as possible up until you run against an offense. We're going to see some pretty good offenses once Spencer Rattler kind of gets this thing going, and OU down the road, we're going to have that. Of course, you got a pretty good offense down in Austin, and so I think we try to keep it as vanilla as possible. We had a couple different looks this week. You saw the kind of the Jacket Stars who they moved around the most. You saw Terrell Bernard out there with a couple, but yeah, I would assume that we're probably going to try to keep it pretty vanilla here early on, and then as the season develops and as the playbook opens up, then that's when you'll see a little bit more variation.
Elliot, I think the overall opinion is that outside of just a couple of areas, which is to be expected when you've had the delays and the long wait to start the season and you've only played the one game, you're going to have certain things to clean up. But overall, I think they pretty much checked a lot of boxes. How did they play versus your expectations versus this first game going in?
They exceeded my expectations. I mean, like I said, I think they look like they were in mid-season form. We nitpicking, 2 or 3 plays out there that, they missed up in the secondary was really all you can point to. Puka had that first run where you just saw the DN crash a little too hard. The safety bit on it too. Just a little excited. But, man, really and truly, this is a defense that if you watch the Big 12 this past week, is going to beat up on a whole lot of offenses. And so I'm feeling really confident, especially that D-line. That D-line looks impressive. Physically, they look impressive, and the way that they got after that offensive line was exactly what they were supposed to do, which is comforting.
Craig, aren't you the one that mentioned yesterday that they just look bigger and more mature, which, of course, we haven't seen these guys in 9 or 10 months.
So, Elliot, I'm sitting there on Saturday. I wasn't at the game because we only have limited seats and everything now, but I'm sitting there like halfway through the first quarter. I'm like, these guys just look older. They just, they're supposed to. They're supposed to because they're all juniors and seniors now, but they just look older, more veteran. And did you pick up on that at all, or am I just thinking that because I haven't seen them in so long?
They look big and mean. And if you watch the offensive coordinator from West Virginia, something he mentioned in his press conference yesterday as well, they just look the part. Mm-hmm. And that, I think, carries some weight with you. You can look at, we're going to throw OU back under the bus. You look at OU's defense, they don't have the size, right? So they got bullied by Kansas State last week. We've got the size. We've got the physicality. I'm telling you, I don't think that this is just a team that could do well in the Big 12. I think we could basically match up, especially the Big 10 coming in a little bit later in the day. But physically, I think we match up really well with a whole lot of people out there.
Paul, anything else?
Nope.
All right, so if they go to Morgantown and they can have success, and, of course, this is a game that appears to be one that you have even more of an opportunity. No crowd, no crazies. That doesn't mean they're not hanging around Morgantown. 2-0. Right. If there's ever a time, yes, the 2014 team had that great team that blew a tire. There's been a couple of others as well, but if there's ever been a better time to go in there, get a win, and get the heck out of there, it's now. Your thoughts?
Now. It's just been that's kind of the twilight zone of the Big 12 for us. It just doesn't matter how good the team is. It shows up. 2012, I think it was that 70-63 game with a rough one. 2014, and then 2 years ago when Charlie had a little bit of a rough going out there on that Thursday night game. It's just been a tough place for us to play. And so I think you're right. I think you take the fans out of the picture. I think it's the first time that we travel, but if you've watched West Virginia on film, I think we're a good matchup for them. It just really depends on. I think this team has good leadership. Right, you got Charlie out there, you got Terrell on the defense. I think that you've got good leadership. When you have good leadership, you have a chance to win on the road. But I am much more confident that this team is going to go out and get this dub after watching us last week against Kansas than I was prior to that.
Elliot, one more thing. When you have 9 starters leave, whatever reason, the NFL or they graduate, and then you see Ashton Logan, or when you see Jalen Petrie, and when you see some of the other young guys step up, what does that say, even with a coaching change and transition, about the system Baylor has now on the defensive side of the football?
Man, you're building an identity, right? People show up, and when you have an identity, you either get with it or you get lost. And the people that are sticking around are buying into that. And when you buy into that over long term, man, then you turn into a team that people show up to and understand, hey, look, if you don't play hard football, if you don't get after, if you don't fly around every play, you just don't have a home for you here. And those guys look like they want to get after it.
Thank you, Elliot. Appreciate your time. Great to have you on.
Hey, love what you guys are doing with Sikkim 365. Thanks again for inviting me on.
Thank you so much. That's Elliot Coffey, former Baylor linebacker, a part of the pre- and post-game show with Baylor IMG, Learfield IMG. The Twins beaten by the Astros 3-1. Here's the crazy stat. 3-1, Houston wins the series, they move on. The Twins have now lost 18 consecutive postseason games. This is a franchise that's won a couple of World Series.
Yeah, not since 91, though.
But it's been forever.
Yeah.
And now the streak that started back in 2004, they just got swept at home by the Astros, who win that series 2-0.
So now the Astros will play either the White Sox or the A's, and the White Sox lead that series 1-0.
Okay. All right. When we come back, we'll have Jane Anderson from Conley. They have Robinson at home, and then La Vegas, Don Hyde, after an off week for them as well. They have Life Waxahachie, and then Hall of Famer, Pro Football Hall of Famer, the great Ronnie Lott. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
Just before I got to the studio today, as I pulled up, I saw our good friend Lance Donaldson. He was driving past. I was trying to get him to come in, but he was lost in his own little world, probably working with one of his clients, trying to get a house done, locked in for them, because he's fantastic at what he does. If you're looking to buy a new home, if you're looking to sell your home, if you have a home in your family you need to sell, that is the guy you need to call. Lance Donaldson and the Donaldson family team, brokered by eXp Realty. Let them be your go-to source as you search for your perfect home. Give Lance a call, 254-214-3713. Online, lancedonaldson.exprealty.com. He's a fantastic guy, a fantastic listener. He's such a good listener, he didn't hear me yelling at him on the street from about 25 feet away while he was talking to one of his clients. That's how focused he is on getting the job done. Lance Donaldson. .exprealty.com is the website, or 254-214-3713 for Lance Donaldson and the Donaldson family team at eXp Realty.
What season is it? It's truck season at Allen Samuels. Ram trucks are raring to go, ready to work and play, and all feature the best deals of the year during Ram Power Days. Come get your brand new Ram Lone Star at Allen Samuels with 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Or choose up to $9,250 in bonus cash and incentives. Ram, the highest pickup owner loyalty in America. Shop, apply, buy online. We deliver. Ram Power Days at Allen Samuels.
How often have you said it's time to get in shape? Every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday, 5 to 10, Friday 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday 7 to 7, and personal trainers Christy London and Randall Court. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna, and now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere, and yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com. Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Hi, this is Conley football coach Shane Anderson. I'm a proud listener and supporter of the all-new Sikkim 365 radio show with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
This segment with Connolly Cadets football coach Shane Anderson is sponsored by Masonic Construction, Sturdy Steel, American Bank, Graham Properties, Richard Carr Motors, Parsons Roofing, First Central Credit Union, Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine.
Did you get what you needed done? And did you both decompress physically and mentally and even emotionally for the start of district play with the bye week?
Yeah, we had a great week last week. Like I said, it was the end of our 6 weeks. And so, we spent a lot of time on our academics and spent some time making sure we focused on that. And then we broke it down and just worked one side of the ball each day of the week. And I think we fine-tuned some things. And I think we're in a really good place and, ready to start district play.
You have played 4 good football teams, and 3 of them might play pretty deep into the playoffs, or at least 2 of them, La Vega and Springtown. Plus, we know Sunnyvale will get better. Palestine will probably get a playoff spot. Was that one of the tougher 4-game stretches you've had? And did you see everything you needed to get you ready for what you're about to see?
Yeah, it's definitely been the toughest non-district schedule we've played since I've been here. And, we started selling it to our kids this summer. And, then you added Sunnyvale into the picture, and we really didn't know what to expect out of that deal. And so, to come out of that 2-2 and the 2 losses being by 3 to La Vega and by 10 to Springtown, I think we're in a good place. I think we're a really good football team, and as long as we can stay healthy, we're going to continue to improve.
So you'll tweak some things, obviously, maybe move around a player or 2. How have the players accepted that, which they need to, and also how have they embraced it?
They've done a great job. Our seniors have once again kind of stepped up and kind of took the bull by the horns, with some adjustments we've made and some different things. And the great thing is when you've had success in the past and you've won in the past, that the kids and parents and community and everybody seems to trust you a little bit more. And so, our kids don't question anything. They all want the ball. They all want to score touchdowns. But at the end of the day, we all want to win games. And so, our goal right now is to play the next 5 games the best we can and be playing our best football come playoff time and hopefully be in the mix for a district championship.
Robinson's 2-3. The quarterback for them is playing pretty well. They're very young in certain places. They've got freshmen and sophomore, and Coach Rubel's trying to kind of figure out who they are. Your thoughts? What do they do that concerns you that you have to be careful with?
Well, he's been there as the defensive coordinator for the last 2 years, so we know what we're going to get defensively. They're not changing anything defensively. Offensively, it's day and night compared to what they were when Coach Allison was there, and they're starting to find their identity. Have scored some points and they're continuing to improve. And I think if they'll just stick with their guns and keep getting better up front and keep sticking to the scheme they're doing, I think they'll give themselves a chance to compete. In a tough district.
Are you a Sikkim 365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at Sikkim365.com.
Hi, this is La Vega head football coach Don Hyde, and you're listening to Sikkim 365 Radio with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke. This is your home for the best high school football coverage in Texas.
This segment with La Vega Pirates football coach Don Hyde is sponsored by American Bank, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine.
You were able to get through the bye week, and obviously now district begins with Life Waxahachie. Your thoughts about what you accomplished and how much did you get done during the bye week, and how much of that was mental or even physical to decompress?
Well, I think the bye week was really, really important to us in a sense of we got to do some things that we needed to accomplish in order to get better. One of them was get in shape, and when you're forced into rush all the time, you kind of lose track of some of that stuff that you need to do in order to be fluid on a Friday night. And so we were able to do some of those things and able to get some more reps for some of our quarterbacks that are having to play and change some things defensively that give us a better chance when those guys are playing quarterback.
When you say get in shape, was that like conditioning drills that you could do that not having to focus as much on, getting ready for a game?
Well, that and, start to get back in the groove of finding time to get in the weight room with different groups and, different people like that. I mean, we pride ourselves on working hard, not only on the football field, but in the weight room during football season. And because of the coronavirus and stuff that's been out there, we've had to limit some of our opportunities in the weight room. And so we were able to get back some of the things that's made us pretty good over the years.
Life Waxahachie is a team that is kind of new to where things are going. They were supposed to be playing, I think, Connolly earlier this year, and of course things got interrupted. Who are they? I know that they're 2-3, coming off a loss to Liberty Isle. Who are they, and what do they do that concerns you?
Well, they're very talented, and from a skill perspective, and they like to throw the ball around. They got a really good running back who can break tackles and with enough speed to go the distance on you when he does break a tackle. And their receiving core is really, really good, and they throw a variety of routes and run a variety of different formations. So they're going to give us all we can handle.
I said 2-3. They're 1-3 with the win against Brownsboro. Brownwood, Stephenville, Midlothian Heritage is obviously pretty good. They've played good people. Just lost to Springtown. You know about them. They've had a pretty tough schedule. If you look at the district, do you see anything in particular? How would you summarize what you've seen? I know most people have played good people in non-district.
I've seen a couple of teams play, on YouTube because of the new rule out there. So I've been able to watch a few games here and there and just kind of relax and watch the games instead of trying to break them all down. And I mean, there's some really good football being played in this district. And you mentioned some of the teams out there. Heritage is always very good. Stephenville is always good. Brownwood's always good. I think the only one I haven't seen is Alvarado, and I think they get off to a rough start. But I know Coach Dixon's going to do a fabulous job and have those guys ready to play when you get on the field with them on Friday nights. And so, we're looking forward to the challenge. We're looking forward to the opportunity to get out there and prove what we can do every week, every Friday.
Aren't you excited that we got to this point and the fact now the games start to matter on who plays at the end of the year?
Oh, and there's no doubt. I think it was important not only to the kids but to the people out there in the community that have been at home and hadn't had much to do. And, the fact that we're trying to do it in a safe and effective manner that creates longevity for the plan that's in place is really important to our process, to our kids' process, and to our fans' process.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance in McLennan County takes pride in backing Central Texas football. Our agents would like to help with your insurance needs. Call 254-772-8090 for an agent near you.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, specializing in diagnosis and treatment of any and all sport-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service to Central Texas. They tackle all surgical and non-surgical problems that arise from an active lifestyle. Trust the doctors that Baylor trust, and when injuries sideline you, don't wait for Monday. Join us at 8:30 on Saturday mornings for a post-game injury evaluation clinic. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. We get you back in the game.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Everybody sold out this week. Everybody. Damn, it's great, isn't it? You gotta love it.
He is a legend of the game, not just a guy who played. He's what the game is all about.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Pro Football Hall of Famer, College Football Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion 4 different times. It's Ronnie Lott with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Ronnie, we appreciate your time. I've always wanted to ask you this, and we've interviewed you a couple of times on Super Bowl Radio Rose. Is there anything in football that you did not accomplish that you can think of?
Yeah. There's, you know what the one thing that's really hard in life is that you look back on your life and you look back at the moments, you look back at certain situations, and two things that really, come to mind. One, when we lost the Redskins, that was a childhood memory. That was one of those moments in your life where you grew up a Redskin fan, you grew up watching Sonny Jurgensen, you grew up watching Charlie Taylor, you grew up watching Larry Brown. You grew up watching, Richie Pettibone, Chris Hamburger, and that group of guys. And what you realize that you want, hopefully that, to emulate them. And then we lost in 1983 to that team. And then the other thing that's really, tough for me when I think about it is, you think of the great backs and you think of Jim Brown and you think of Gale Sayers, and you think of guys, that are, in that ilk. And what you think about is, can you, handle and tackle all of those great guys? And, one of the guys, Earl Campbell, to me was the guy that everybody talks about Bo. Bo was phenomenal. He was great. He was fast. He was, special. But he was not Earl Campbell. And Earl, to me, was one of those guys that you you tip your hat to, because the way he came at you, the way he wanted to come at you, the way that he had a purpose, a spirit of how he attacked you was very valuable, and it was something that made him so reckless to the point where it put him in a situation where he was one of the toughest, hardest backs. And what I always find is really interesting is how do I know that? Is that when I talked to John Madden said, Ronnie, there's only one back that I ever walked on the field to go look at. And I had to go look at him. And the reason I had to go look at him is because I wanted to really appreciate what he looked like and who he was. And I went out there and I looked at him and I realized that I had to come back into the locker room, and I had to tell all my defensive guys, hey, you gotta tackle this guy, because this guy is something special. And it tells you that how people like that, take a look at you, and they take a look at you and they know how special you are. And so yeah, I've had those kind of guys like that in your life where they are bigger than life, and they have moments that they tell you and make you know that they're bigger than life.
Mm-hmm. At what point in your career did you notice teams start scheming around you, whether it was don't throw the ball over here, our guy's going to get sawed in half, or the ball's going to get picked off?
Well, you know what, the great thing about sports is every day there's a chess match. Every day. Every day there's a chess match being played. Whether it's with your friends, whether it's with your people you play with in the league, there are so many moments where people are playing chess matches with you, and the question is why. And the reason I believe that there's a why to it is that nobody wants to lose. I don't care who you are, no one wants to lose. And that chess match becomes so important to your DNA. And what some people are really, really good at is that they're really good at saying, I'm so good at chess that I'm willing to tell you that I can kick your butt. And I can not only kick your butt, but I'm willing to tell you that you can't even understand how to deal with that. And my point to you is that is how some people dare you, and how some people come to realize that's how valuable the chess match can be. And that in itself is a really, interesting way to, understand, all the issues that you deal with, right? All the issues that you deal with in life. And my point about that is that's how sports are, man. They make it complicated, and that's why we love it. Because sometimes we forget that it's so complicated that we don't even want to deal with it. How many fans do you know that they don't even want to deal with it because it's so complicated, because they don't want to see their friends lose. And the reason they don't want to see their friends lose is that they're so nervous that their friends are losing, right? So my point to you is that happens a lot in sports. And the reason it happens a lot in sports is that just people have a different way of how they value sports and how they look at it.
Ronnie, what was the best piece of advice you've ever been given, and where did it come from?
Ooh. That's a great question. my dad gave me probably the best advice, and that is don't have regrets. Understand that every time you go out there, every time you're trying to get respect, and by the way, when you're dead, people are going to come to your funeral because they respect you for what you've done, not for what you've accomplished, but what you've done. And to me, that's a really amazing stat in life. Is a lot of times we forget that respect comes from what you've done, not what you are. And so I try every day to make a play. I try every day to make a play. And the reason I try every day to make a play is that if I make a play, that means that, I've done good for God. I've done good for my friends. I've done good for my family. I've done good for the people that I care about. And that's important to me.
Ronnie, you're a businessman as well. And what have you learned about yourself these last 5 to 6 months?
These last 5 to 6 months, what I've learned is in pressure situations, it is fascinating the conversations that we have. Meaning, Ray Wershing was our kicker.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was our kicker, Ray Wershing used to run on the field, and then he would grab somebody. He wouldn't even look up. And the reason he would grab somebody because he knew that was his routine to make the field goal, that he didn't want to even look up because he knew that all he had to do was go out there and focus on making sure that I just have to be aligned. And he didn't want to be bothered. If you think about that, that's a very valuable aspect of life, that sometimes we got to tune out everything around us. And we got to tune it out because it's important to understand how you need to focus on the things that are so important to you. Not everybody else, but the things that are important to you. And by the way, knowing what I know in this environment and knowing what I know the last 6 months, that has been hard to do because everybody has been impacted with this thing that has been something that's very elusive, something that you can't even see, something that you can't even touch, something that all of us are going, where does it come from? And we're enamored with the emotion of how it impacts our life. And because it is what it is, it's created fear. It's created things that we've never had to think about.
Mm-hmm.
And so that makes life a little challenging when you have something that you never thought about. You have to now think about every day. Think about that. Think about something you've never thought about. Now you have to think about it every day. That's adding another dimension in your life that you never expected.
Hall of Famer Ronnie Lott with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Paul?
You are very close friends and have been for a long, long time with Marcus Allen, and I watched his Hall of Fame speech about you when we were getting ready for this interview, and that kind of and how close you guys have been since USC. What did it mean to have somebody with you through your career that was kind of on the same level of achievement and going through all the same things, that you could have that friendship, that somebody understood every single thing that you were going through as a football player and as a human being?
You know what? It means a lot. It means the world. And the reason it means the world is that when you're suffering, it means the world to be able to cry. It means the world to be able to express the challenges that you have to deal with. And it's imperative that you have somebody that can be by your side. On the other side, when you're at the highs and he's at his high and he's at the MVP level and he's at the level of things that, that are unbelievable. He also needs somebody to say, hey, okay, that is unbelievable, but don't lose sight of, all the things that we need to continue to do to serve others. And so my point to you is that person is trying to help you see both sides of your life. And we've been, able to kind of find ways to say, hey, maybe you're not as good as you think. And maybe you're not. And that factor of being able to help us understand that, and more importantly, to help us see that we need to serve others is very valuable.
Ronnie, speaking of Marcus Allen, you and Marcus and Charles Haley were part of a Zoom call. I guess it was last week, and a lot of people tuned in for that. I guess how much of an expert have you become at Zoom during this time period, and also just how much fun was that getting together with those guys and chatting it up?
It was amazing chatting it up with those guys, and the reason it was amazing is that you get to tell things to people about things that matter to you, not things that matter to others, and things that matter to you. And sometimes we forget to tell those stories that matter to us. So though it was great just chatting that up. And then the other thing that was phenomenal about that is, getting together with people that you don't know and sharing your thoughts and ideas about those kind of moments in life. They're invaluable because you're letting somebody peep into a moment that they didn't even know you had. And when Marcus was talking about the moment of Lyle Alzado and saying that he and Lyle had got in a confrontation when he was with the Raiders, and the moment that we all have when we have confrontations with certain players and certain people. I think those moments, a lot of times, the writers don't talk about those. And the reason the writers don't talk about it is because a lot of times they never see them. They don't even know that there was a confrontation. They didn't even know that there was a moment when you were, playing against the Dallas Cowboys, and the confrontation of the moment is, hey, you know what? I'm trying to find a way to, slow down Drew Pearson. And Drew Pearson is saying, hey, you young kid, man, I'm not letting you slow me down. Matter of fact, you better let me, you better sign a couple cards, and not only should you sign a couple cards on my behalf, I own you.
Yeah.
and my point is that Drew, when I played against him, I'll never forget this. Dennis Thurman told me, hey, man, don't talk to him. Don't say anything, because if you say something to him, he's going to get you out of your game. And so those moments that Dennis Thurman said to me, hey, man, don't slow your roll. Don't say anything. And here he is. He plays for the Cowboys, and he's telling me that. And that relationship that Dennis had with me, but it was the relationship that also made me realize that, sometimes in life, people value your friendship over your team. And this was before. Just so you guys know, this wasn't during that game that he told me that. This was before the season. So he knew before the season that, because we were going to play him, so he knew before the season that to tell me, hey, man, don't mess with that dude. And so that's the great thing. Those are the great lessons you learn, and that's what we were able to share, and that's what made it valuable.
Ronnie, I know you got to go. If you don't mind, another question about that 81 team that won it all, that started the dynasty. You played Dallas earlier that year and smoked them pretty good. I'll remember that. I was in college at the time, and you won easily, 45-14. We know about the championship game, Dwight Clark and the catch. Did beating Dallas during the regular season give you guys the confidence the rest of the way, and also on that game when you played them in the championship?
Yeah. I mean, you know what's funny is that game, we just signed this guy by the name of Fred Dean. And when we signed Fred Dean, nobody really knew that Fred Dean had what he had, meaning Fred Dean was an incredible force in San Diego. But what we didn't know was Fred Dean had this kind of incredible force where people literally, when he walked on the field, people were like, hey, he's coming on the field. And my point to you is that imagine that you have signed a guy that was like Charles Haley when Charles Haley signed with the Dallas Cowboys. Charles Haley signed with the Dallas Cowboys. There were a lot of people around the league saying, why did they let that happen? Mm-hmm. Now, there were a lot of people in the league going, and the 49ers are going, oh, man, and we let him go because that guy, he's washed up. What they didn't know was Charles was feared. Charles was feared by a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And my point to you is that when you find yourself in those kind of moments, that's when you realize that those kind of moments matter. And so, yeah, that's what I love about sports. That's what I love about, when I was watching Michael Jordan talk about when he was playing the Pistons. I mean, that there was something more, just like we're going to watch LeBron here coming up when he plays the Miami Heat. There's going to be something more than you think because, he beat the Heat, but he now has them again. And so there's something more that's going to be on the line. And my point is that that's just how we go about loving the game of sport. And that's why we love the game of people finding their path of greatness.
One more question. You want to bring up Drew Pearson?
Yeah, Ronnie, you brought up Drew Pearson. I mean, it's not official, but it looks like all signs pointing to him finally getting into the Hall of Fame. His wait has been well documented. His disappointment when he didn't get that call a year ago was well publicized. Your thoughts on Drew Pearson finally most likely getting that Hall of Fame call?
Well, again, what's interesting to me is that when you have that moment in your life, when somebody gives you the validation of saying you're in, and what that means to so many people, it means so many different things. To some people, it means that it is on the top of the mountain. To some people, it means I'm in the huddle with some of the best in the world. What I would imagine, just knowing Drew like I know him, I gotta believe that Drew is sitting there, really thinking about all of the moments, all of the climbs, all of the days being in Thousand Oaks, all of those kind of journeys that he went through, all of the quarterbacks, Roger to Danny. And so my point is that you get to go back and appreciate everything. And for him, he's going to get a chance to sit there and appreciate all of all the moments that he exhausted. I mean, he exhausted some amazing moments. The moment of that Minnesota game, you know, that to me one of the moments that I'll remember. Some of the moments against, you know, he almost pulled it off against us.
Yep.
Where he threw, you know, they threw him a slant pattern, and so, you know, he has been at the big stage, and he understands the big stage, and you know, kudos to him for hopefully, you know, walking in with this community and knowing what I know. There are a lot of people that are going to be sitting there going, job well done, you know, you belong, and much respect for why you belong. So yeah, I gotta believe that call is going to be something that's going to be like it is for everybody. It is magical, and it's magical because you never thought and never dreamed that you could aspire to kind of reach that moment in your life.
By the way, we may have seen, I'm not sure if he's a second cousin of yours, Jacoby Lott, who played at Kansas. He's an offensive lineman. They were just in Waco this past weekend. Baylor won the game, but I had heard there's a connection there, not just because of the last name, but that's someone you've known. You've seen him grow up, and he's overcome a lot as a young man as well.
Well, I can tell you this right now. One of the, you know, because the Lott name is a part of it, because I don't know him and I don't know the name and I haven't met him, but I will tell you this, and I hope this is true, you know, that he continues to fight and he continues to strive and he continues to give everything, because when you exhaust every moment of your life, you realize that you battle in the same arena that Teddy Roosevelt talked about. That's an incredible arena to be in, and I've always valued that arena that Teddy talked about, and that's what I'm hoping that this young man will be able to have his path and his greatness being exercised every day.
He's a Hall of Famer in every way possible. The great Ronnie Lott on Sikkim 365 Radio. Ronnie, we appreciate you so much and have a great night.
Thank you very much for your time, man. Be well, and God bless.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine, they've got their easy-to-access drive-thru open right now. So if you're on your way home right now or later on and you want to stop by and get something, maybe some wine for dinner or maybe some Balcones lineage, which they have in stock, and all the fantastic Balcones products that they carry there, you can do that. You just drive up to the drive-thru window and you say, hey, I would like A, B, and C. They go and get it for you. They bring it back. You give them your money, and you're on your way. If you're a fan of craft beer, Riverbend Liquor and Wine is the place to go. They've got the widest variety of craft beer in Waco. It's absolutely fantastic. You just walk into the walk-in fridge there and enjoy all the difference that they have, whether it's, you know, porters or malts or whatever you want. They've got it there at Riverbend Liquor and Wine. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, a hidden gem in Waco, Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sikkim 365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The Sikkim 365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
All right, here we go. This 4 o'clock hour halfway through. Astros did win earlier today. Cubs are in trouble in their game. Rays blow it open against the Blue Jays, trying to win that series, already up 1 game to none, lead 8-1. A's and White Sox bottom of the 7th. Athletics 5-0 lead. And the Yankees-Indians tonight. Yankees won the first game. Cardinals 4-1 in the first against San Diego. They just began. Marlins 5-1. That is now a final in their game with Chicago. And how about the Braves? That game was a walk-off from Freeman, is that right?
Yeah, and it took 13 or 14 innings. Was it 13? And, they final in 13, 1-0, and beat the Reds, who back in the playoffs. I mean, there's a lot of teams back in the playoffs for the first time in a long time. The Reds are back there, but now that you're in a 3-game series, you're just staring down the barrel of it once you're down 1-0.
All right, from Rex, who is a part of our Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line. Wow, that was really good on Ronnie Lott. While I was listening, I was thinking about all the people he played for and with. John Madden, Earl Campbell, Bo Jackson in the same sentence. I can't imagine. What a legend. I wish my son knew what the NFL used to be. To me, there was about a 20-year period when the NFL was the best thing going in sports. Ronnie was in the middle of it all. I hope that one day comes back again for a whole new generation. Maybe it's just an old schooler. As every interview y'all do with stars of the game, y'all did it great. Thanks for the ending. My day on the high note as well. So, I do think that young people watching the NFL, the Mahomes and Lamar Jackson Monday night game, there are great matchups. And, even the Cowboys-Seattle was a hell of a game. But it is a different era. It is. I'm like almost waiting for something now. There was a play, and it might have been Monday night. There was a play where a receiver got hit in the chest, and they called it a defenseless receiver. Had he gone another step with the ball, it's a catch. Mm-hmm. But they called it a defenseless receiver, a hit on the it has really not lost me, but it does affect my viewing because it seemed like every time I get entrenched in a game, something like that occurs.
Ronnie Lott made his career on hitting a quote-unquote defenseless receiver.
But he wasn't a dirty player.
But
he was violent.
When I say that, I'm saying that in quotes because they're not like – sometimes I just wonder, what do you want –
there are guys, Ken Houston, Dick Butkus, and I know I'm going old school 50 years ago, but a lot of these guys would still be able to play. They would change their way, but man, some of that was part of their game.
The rule I don't like. I get like not going low on a quarterback and like hitting him in the knees intentionally, but I've seen that penalty get called when a guy gets blocked to the ground, the quarterback is running past him, and he reaches up and grabs his feet.
Here's the thing.
What do you want him to do?
That was the one year, was it Roethlisberger or Rodgers, who got trapped in the pocket, got hit low?
Roethlisberger.
And so now, now, and he's a big man.
Yeah.
But now the first thing they do the next year is they respond to it by saying you can't hit a quarterback below like his knees. Well, God. What if you can't tackle above the shoulders, and I get what they're doing there, more because of the legal things, and you can't tackle below the knees, isn't that isn't that the best way to get somebody to go down? And I get that there's traffic in the pocket. There's still guys get rolled up on and whatever. How about offensive linemen who get rolled up on after a running play?
Yeah, well, the trouble is that that's not going to change. The old way of playing football is out the door, and they've made so many changes moving into this new direction that it does have a lot to do with health and safety and things like that. But, they're just always tinkering with the game. It seems like there's always some new rule we're learning about or some change to an existing rule or whatever. And yeah, it's good to tinker, but I got a little bit of that in the 90s. I think the NFL was still kind of the NFL then. Really, I think what we've seen over the last 10 to 15 years has become the number one sport, and in doing so, it's changed. When it wasn't, far and away the number one sport, I don't feel like we were seeing constant rules changes and constant this and constant that. But ever since it has become that, it's filled with rules, and that old school mentality or physical way of playing is just out the door.
I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's going to get even more so that way the further we move down the road.
I wonder if it's over. Are we being overly sensitive? I get you don't want star players to get hurt.
I think they just
want
the offense to score
points. But you don't care about the defensive tackle. And they get that.
I also think they don't want to get I don't think they want.
How are they going to get sued if a guy gets tackled in the pocket?
I don't think they want this era of players to sue them, as opposed
for the concussions.
Yeah, I think they want it. I think they're
Okay, but what about again? The Roethlisberger goes down. It was a fluky deal. He's a big man.
It was Carson Palmer.
Carson Palmer goes down. You hate it. I hated it for him, but it's just like they just immediately we can't let that happen anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's guys get rolled up on all the time at the end of a running play. Offensive linemen, who cares? Even though some of those guys who have been hurt on plays like that are big name type of people. So I don't. By the way, your question, you asked the question about the couches, right?
Yes.
Jed Drenning, who we had on yesterday, responded to me on that. Laugh out loud. The school and town have frowned on it so much. The Morgantown City Council passed a law in 2015 to ban not just the burning of the couches, but even keeping them outside. As a result, not nearly as common these days, which takes the fun out of everything. Even if they win or lose, they can't light up a couch.
Well, I guess they can. It's just frowned upon.
Well, they'll get a ticket or they'll get a fine.
Well, see,
how do they do that during that oso doso, whatever they call that?
Dia del Oso.
Yeah. Do they burn a couple?
Oso doso. Dia del Oso.
Armstrong, have you burned a couch during whatever it's called?
Dia del Oso.
No, I've never burned a couch.
Have you seen one burning?
I've seen things on fire. Maybe not a couch.
But they're like not humans. I mean, you're
not humans.
Like a plant or something.
But
box.
Here's what I would be mad about. If I owned, Leap and Larry's Mountaineer Furniture Mart in Morgantown,
you just lost
West Virginia. I just lost some money because people are running through these couches. Whoa. I would even create some sort of discount. College student couch where, $250, bam, couch.
Buy one, burn one free, something like that. Yeah.
But that way, like when you burn your couch, then you can come in, $250, bam, couch. over and over again. I'm just racking them up.
Not anymore.
Yeah, I'd make it Mountaineer colors.
I mean, that guy, he's going to go out of business.
Yeah,
right.
well, clearly the city of Morgantown is against capitalism.
There you go. That's not fair at all. Absolutely. I got another question on the text line we did from a high school football fan, Daniel Acton. Love the high school coverage. Thank you, Daniel. Who in this area, in your opinion, has the most difficult schedule? I know they're not in this area, but Allen hosted Atascocita this week. And by the way, that could be their first home loss because they're not playing really good defense at Allen. You know that's driving Terry Gamble crazy. Next week, Cedar Hill. Week after that, home against Tyler Legacy. They put 70. Craig's alma mater, what used to be Robert E. Lee. And it was Robert E. Lee. It's now Legacy. Put up 70 on Lufkin. New coach. Yeah. Those two running backs. Remember we did the game when they played Midway last year. Those two running backs, Jamarian Miller and Donnell, whatever, they didn't do anything. He had a school record.
I don't remember them playing Lee last year or Legacy last year. That's how much that game mattered to me. Like, I mean, I think the first time that Midway played them was at McLean Stadium, and that was cool because, it was my alma mater, and I saw – you know what? Now I remember because now I remember going and talking to Willie Williams, who was my old freshman baseball coach, who's still at Legacy all these years later. But I hardly remember that game because I don't think there was much memorable from that game outside of the Midway win. But they've got some players. When I was there, they were always very good. It was really the start of what was Lee becoming, a contender across the state and started to upset the apple cart that was the school formerly known as John Tyler, who had kind of ran things for forever and ever, Earl's alma mater, which is now just Tyler High. But apparently they're pretty good. So, that's great, and I hope they can keep it up because it's been kind of hit or miss since I left.
You know, the district that is the one with DeSoto, Duncanville, Cedar Hill, Midway, and among others, Waco High's in it as well. They went to this zone, which is it's a little bit weird. For example, in the South Zone, it's Duncanville, and then it's Midway, Waco High, and Waxahachie. And so, in other words, if you just win a game in that zone, you're going to play the teams on the other side as well, which is Cedar Hill. But when that district was announced in February, when realignment occurred, and then, of course, COVID has changed everything in the 6A in that area, they were going to play their non-district schedule did not include Westlake, who they play this week. Round Rock, who beat them in what is a game non-game, is pretty good. But their district would have been their first game would have been at Permian. But now they have Westlake instead of Permian. They still have to play Duncanville, Cedar Hill, DeSoto in those games. Eventually, I think it's going to be Lake Ridge, who was beaten by Timberview in the opening game. So they're going to have a pretty dicey schedule. I don't know how they're going to do it. It's like. You can win if you finish second or in the zone, you're going to move on, and then you're still going to play games that really don't actually count.
Yeah, I don't know. Their schedule looks weird. It has them playing Cedar Hill twice. And they play Cedar Hill and Waco on the same day. So Max Preps might want to get that corrected.
Look, Max Preps is what determines playoff eligibility in the state of Florida, so they know what they're doing.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea. That's an awful idea.
It's horrible.
I cannot believe they do that.
I need to get one of my friends who's a coach on the show just to. Yeah. I called a basketball coach friend of mine, and he said, "I'm not on the radio right now, am I?" And then he went on an expletive-laced tirade about how bad it is because. I guess the scheduling road games, the cost of road games, they said if they don't have to do as many road games in district, then they can save money. So all these schools just kind of play each other, and then Max Preps does sort of like a power rankings. And
they do a college football playoff committee. Yeah, it's basically.
Yeah, but Max Preps is not the best run website.
They are very thorough for a lot of general sports information on high schools all across the country, but it's not where I would go to get in-depth sort of analysis. It's very good about congregating information that's pretty general, like a roster or a schedule. But outside of that,
if you want Texas, you go to Pigskin Prep or you go to Carl Padilla. Obviously, Dave Campbell's at TexasFootball.com. If you want regions like East or Central Texas, you can go to mine. At Smoky.com, but it's hard. It's almost impossible. There's 1,300 schools in Texas, and they have these schedules. The schedule for Midway, the new one, is this. They'll play Westlake this week, then South Grand Prairie. Then they have a bye week, I believe it is. And then they start district play with Mansfield, Waco High, and Duncanville. And then it's open. And it will depend on how the north zone of that district goes. That's DeSoto, Cedar Hill, and among others as well.
Is that just for this year?
Yeah, I would think so.
Because I hate that. I think that's ridiculous.
I do too.
I don't like that at
So
all. You're
can-
missing some of the best teams.
You're going to play them.
Not all of them.
Well, I think you still might end up. But you're right. What was Murderers Row?
Yeah.
Not to mention what they were going to do in non-district. What was Murderers Row? We're going to Cedar Hill, DeSoto, Duncanville. Those three teams are favored to beat you.
Yeah.
So you had to then figure out a way. If you didn't win one of those in a win, if you didn't have an upset, you were going to have to beat either Mansfield or Lake Ridge or maybe two others or three others. You had to beat Waco High. You had to beat Waxahachie. You could not stub your toe against somebody if it wasn't among those three. It's a crazy deal. I don't know how they came up with it, but they're trying to solidify it and simplify it and makes it, to me, more complicated. All right, Owen Buchanan covers A&M. Boy, what a tough opening game it was for the Aggies on offense. Beat Vanderbilt, was it 17-12 or something like that? He'll talk about that, discuss that, chew it up, and guess who's next? Alabama.
Look.
Holden Buchanan next on Sikkim 365 Radio. Alan Samuel.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, the kickoff summer savings event continues on as we get deeper into football season, and that means a lot of great deals and a lot of great customer service as well. Richard Carr prides itself on its customer service, and I'll get to that in a moment. They've been dealing really well with it throughout the pandemic, but first things first, it's those sales going on right now in the thousands that you can save. If you are looking for a 3-row ride full of room and full of luxury, and check out the 2020 3-row Buick Enclaves. Right now they are $8,000 off at Richard Carr. Ready to step up to ultimate luxury and style? Let Richard Carr bring the Cadillac experience to you. Drive one of the exhilarating Cadillac SUVs like the 2020 XT4, XT5, or the 7-passenger Cadillac XT6. You can get yours today starting at only $35,900 at Richard Carr Cadillac, or you can find one of the best sedan values on the market with the exhilarating 2020 Cadillac CT4 starting at $32,995. Also, if you're looking for a truck, well, check out the GMCs. During the kickoff savings event, qualified buyers will score huge savings like $8,000 off on a 2020 GMC Sierra, or you can save $6,000 on the roomy 3-row 2020 GMC Acadia. They've got big selection, great prices, free oil changes when you purchase a vehicle, and VIP priority warranty service as well. They stand by to support all customers with award-winning service because they are the people you can count on, a local family dealer run by Baylor alumni. They just want to earn your business now and also for every car down the road. So stop by their daily disinfected showroom and see their safety-focused staff, or they can bring the test drive to your home because your comfort and safety is their first priority. Find more information or find them online at richardcarr.com or Highway 6 at the Imperial exit.
How can we help you? That's a question we ask every day at American Bank. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Our commitment to our customers is what drives us. It's why we've invested in new branch buildings and technology like ITMs that let you speak to a teller face-to-face from your car. It's why we work with local businesses, helping Waco grow and thrive. And it's why decisions about your accounts and loans are made here in Waco by people who know you. How can we help you? Find out at American Bank, member FDIC.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Waco Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, bod pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change, your change.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Don's Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don's Humidor in the Townwood Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Hey, it's time to stretch your legs. Jeep Adventure Days are here at Allen Samuels. Get special financing on the granddaddy of Jeeps, Jeep Gladiator. Now at 3.9 for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Grab hold of Jeep's rugged subcompact, Jeep Renegade with 0% for 72. No payments for 90 days. Or choose up to $5,750 in cash. Let's get going with amazing deals from your friend in the car business, Allen Samuels.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. This segment with Olin Buchanan of TexAgs.com is sponsored by Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness, with over 40 group exercise classes Monday through Sunday on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
All right, here we go. We're going to debate. Now, we're not going to even go there, but Olin Buchanan, we have not been able to track him down, TexAgs.com, as they had the win. It was a struggle to beat Vanderbilt, and it's like easy to, here. Now they get Alabama. And if you looked at the first weekend, Clemson was able to take care of their business. Obviously, Miami's already played Paul, 2 or 3 games or so. And, but if you look at the rankings, let's do that. You wanted to do that yesterday. I'm not sure if Olin's going to sit there and call in on time or not, but it is insane that a Big Ten team or a Pac-12 team is ranked in the top 25 when they have nothing to lose for another month. There are no games. How can you rank, even though we know Ohio State's a top 5 product?
Yeah, Ohio State is 6th, Penn State is 10th, and Wisconsin is 18th, and Michigan is 21st.
Michigan's like Texas in a poll at the start of the year, and sometimes they earn it, and sometimes it's they're Michigan and they're Texas, and sometimes they absolutely blank the bed.
Isn't this kind of exposing the flaw of the
absolutely
to anybody who hasn't seen to anybody who hasn't seen it before? So if you've had the veil over your eyes on this polling thing in college football for the last 100 years or whatever, if you think oh man, they named my team second before we've even played a game, we must be really good. Now you see why maybe this is all just. I mean, right now this is essentially just for television, so that the network that the game is on says we have number 7 versus number 11. Okay, they haven't played. They played one game.
There is some of that. ESPN has their own poll. They took over what was the coaches' poll.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I hate that. I think one of our country's biggest problems is that just everything's so money-driven and the greed's just out of control. But that's why they do these polls, and that's why they've got to put the Big Ten teams in there and the Pac-12 teams in there. Although I don't believe there's a Pac-12 team in the top 25, but for some reason there's 3 or 4 Big Ten teams. So I think it's ridiculous. I mean, they're not playing right now. They're not going to be playing for a little while longer. So why does Ohio State deserve to be the number 6 team in the country? Why do they deserve to be above teams that are 1-0? Why do they deserve to be above Miami, who's 3-0? Miami's 3-0, and yet Ohio State's ranked above them. That makes absolutely no sense. And it shows you the biases. It shows you that they've already locked in who they think the best teams are, and done so without even seeing a hint of any of these teams, just assuming. I think it's
because
stupid.
of their name.
Yeah, because of name. I think it's ridiculous.
And yes, Justin Fields and Ohio State will be difficult to beat, or Penn State and Franklin. But Olin Buchanan, TexAgs.com, joins us now on Sikkim 365 Radio. Olin, we were just discussing the rankings, and we'll get to A&M, Vanderbilt, and now Bama, but how the Big Ten, who won't play for another 3 weeks, they slide everybody. There's 4, just pop. Here comes Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Michigan, and, of course, Penn State. Do you have a vote in the top 25? I'm not sure if you do or not.
I don't.
Okay, and I don't either, and neither do Paul, you don't, and Craig. But it's just like, why? Why is the rush to put them in when they're not? None of them can lose a game for at least another 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, it is curious. The only thing I can think is that there's a lot of teams that have been underwhelming. So maybe the think is, well, when these guys play, they're going to be better. It's kind of like a preseason poll that there's still considering some teams even though they haven't played. But yeah, I mean, it is curious. You'd think they'd at least wait till somebody plays.
All right, Olin, what was the deal with the Aggies offense on Saturday night?
Oh, gosh. It, quite frankly, looked like they weren't ready to play at all. They did a lot of things to hurt themselves. There was a play they had down to the 2-yard line and got a holding downfield, and then on the next play, Mon had the ball slapped out of his hand from behind. So there's 2 gaps right there. Then they lost 3 fumbles, and then on another fumble, it technically wasn't a turnover, but it was 4th and 1, and I'm telling you, the play was set up. It's going to be a 35-yard touchdown running on a zone read, and Mon dropped it. And he recovered it, but he recovered it too. He didn't get the first down. And then you got guys putting you in bad field position by catching a punt in the end zone, getting a safety, so you're having to punt, and then on a kickoff, the ball rolls past you at the goal line 8 yards deep, and you run back there and pick it up, and instead of taking the knee, try to run it out. So I just thought that looked like a team that was absolutely mentally, physically, any way you want to put it, not ready to play. Kellen did not play well. He made a few really nice throws, but for every really nice throw, he was inaccurate. So his whole career, the big knock on him is his inconsistency. And I thought that was as inconsistent a game as he's played all year, or that I've ever seen him play.
So good news for the Aggies. They at least get an easy game this week, Olin, to sharpen up just the Alabama Crimson Tide. So, I mean, how much do you think is the just stumbling out of the gates that we've seen from some teams that just don't look ready because it's just been weird? And how much do you think can be corrected or sharpened up in time for Alabama coming up this weekend?
Well, I mean, first of all, we all know you can get as sharp as a knife and still lose at Alabama.
Absolutely.
I think that, I have to go by the coach that sees these guys in practice every day. And this week, Jimbo Fisher said, hey, a lot of these things are very fixable. And some of them are. You can look at some of the plays that they made. And you're like I can even think of a play where Kellen Mond threw into the end zone. No, he overthrew the tight end. And he had Aniyah Smith running right in front of him that if he just dumped it off, it's a 20-yard gain. And so, maybe that's some of the stuff that they're thinking about. Look, it's the first game. You weren't as mentally into it as you could be, but I don't think they need to be making excuses. I think they should understand that they played really poorly, and that if you don't raise your level of play dramatically, not Alabama, you may have some trouble beating Mississippi State and Ole Miss and some of the other teams down later on in your schedule. I think at Alabama, you got to go out and have a Herculean effort and hope they're looking at that Vanderbilt game and not taking you seriously.
Yeah, and that's what Nick Saban prevents most of the time. Not that they haven't had a couple where they've messed the bed, but that's what he preaches is this week is no matter who they're playing or what the team has done, just be who you are. Yeah, it was disappointing because, and we know Vanderbilt on occasion will have a team that, that rises up and has a pretty good year. We won't know that, and most likely not. But now all of a sudden, you're in the SEC West. You've known that from the beginning. And now you have Mike Leach beats LSU, a team that you knew he would make them better or even give you heartburn because he's now in the conference. That kind of just raises the level of their schedule up a little bit more, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Now, I'll say this. When I was watching some of that game, I don't think LSU ever adapted to what Leach does. It's like, hey, we're going to play man-to-man defense the whole game. And Leach saying, thank you.
Yep.
That's what it looked like to me. But, yeah, I would think coming into that game or before last Saturday, you would have looked at the Mississippi State game and said, okay, yeah, that should be a win. Now it goes down, well, I think we could probably win to that one, maybe. But Mississippi State looked outstanding and A&M looked inept, and there's no nice way to put it. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to be inept your whole season. I mean, I've seen teams have bad game or two and then go on and win championships. I'm not saying A&M is going to win a championship. I am saying that A&M still, I think, can be a good football team, but they're going to have to be a lot better than they were against Vanderbilt. We all know it, and there's no way to sugarcoat it.
And he was not a fan of A&M, Mike Leach, when he was at Tech. He made fun of the core. I mean, he did not like them at all.
Well, it's 3 games away, but the fact is, you have the combination of A&M having some struggles historically in Starkville and some trouble historically with Leach. So, that's a tough daily double.
Olin, looking at Alabama, I mean, you've got Jalen Waddle, Mac Jones at quarterback. They're always going to have like 15 5-star running backs, et cetera. I mean, just 5 stars all over the field. What stood out to you, if anything, from their big win in game number 1? And, like, measuring up this matchup, how does it appear to you on paper?
Okay, well, first of all, I didn't get to see it because, of course, I was covering my game.
Right.
But I did look, saw some highlights, of course. But the thing is, you look at it and you say, hey, 35-19, Missouri, maybe a good accounting. No, it was 35-3.
Yeah.
And it looked like Alabama was as dominant, from what I understand, as Alabama wanted to be, and then they took it easy. And I think that I don't think A&M will go out there thinking that they're playing a team that's vulnerable because Missouri scored 19 points. I think that everybody understands if you go play Alabama, regardless of the situation before, you're playing one of the best teams, if not the best team in college football, and you're going to have to play a great game, to have a chance. And A&M has again, they had 3 turnovers and really 4 in that game against Vanderbilt. Well, Alabama, the difference in some really competitive games A&M has played with Alabama has been turnovers, whether there's Kyle Allen or Trevor, throwing an interception, or Trevor Knight losing a late fumble. They got to take care of the ball first. You can't help them out because if you help them out, they're going to really pound you. And if you don't help them out, maybe you can keep it interesting into the fourth quarter and then see what happens.
Owen, thank you very much for your time. Wednesdays, Owen Buchanan with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. They do play Alabama. By the way, tomorrow, Kirk Bowles will help us break down Texas along with C.J. Wilson, former Baylor defensive back.
C.J. Wilson, when he was here, was the best interview on the team.
Sam Bradshaw will do his crystal ball with what's going on. Max Olson, Mickey Spagnola, and also Midway's Jeff Hume.
Former Rangers pitchers joining us tomorrow.
Yes.
The head case, C.J. Wilson.
So when we come back, what's the Cowboys? What's up with them in Frisco? And John Machota will join us. And then 5:30, a little bit later on, we'll have Kwame Cavill, the head coach at Waco High. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Come by, let's be friends. And, oh, by the way, Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, the last of September, and what they have available when it comes to, well, you know what I mean, the discounts. And they've got a ton of the discounts constantly out the door with the opportunities for you. In fact, many times, no payments for 72 months or various type of discounts or added incentives into the price of what you pay, against the price of what you pay. For example, truck season, a Ram Lone Star Crew Cab, decked out with plenty of options, including the big old Hemi, $9,750 in bonus cash and incentives, or you can choose 0% financing for 72 months, no payments for 90 days. Ask for the details. At Jeep Adventure Days from the Jeep Gladiator, in fact, 3.9% for 72 months, no payments for 90 days. And employee pricing for all is back on most Gladiator models. Again, ask for details. The 2020 Cherokees featuring 0% financing for 72 months, no payments for 90 days, or choose up to $6,000 in bonus cash and incentives. The Renegade, 0% 72 months or $5,750 in bonus cash. Ask for details. Shop online if you want. AlanSamuelsDCJ.com or on Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco. If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi. Great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco. House-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine. Best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with John Machota of The Athletic, brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
Prescott is able to stay up to the end zone. It is picked. Seahawks take over.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments, with financial advisor Ben Erlinson, who will navigate you through today's financial climate. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
All right, here we go. 5 o'clock hour. At the bottom of the hour, we'll have Kwame Cavill, head football coach at Waco High. They had a win against West Mesquite. They have huddle this week. But John Machota, he joins us, theathletic.com, covers the NFL, covers the Cowboys like a blanket, and he's with us with Paul Craig. I'm David Smoke. So, John, the Tyron Smith thing, let's start with that. Obviously, Lyle Collins, and then there's DeMarcus Lawrence. Tyron Smith, I thought I saw a note in which he was during individual workouts there, but did not practice. So is this another one of those wait and see on him?
It will be a wait and see, but I think it's closer now than it has been in any of the previous weeks, just because I think from what Stephen Jones said on the radio the other day is that he was real close this past Sunday to really that came down to a serious game time decision. And then just to see him out there today, which is the first time in a couple of weeks where he actually had his helmet on and he was doing the individual drills with the rest of the offensive linemen as opposed to working off to the side on resistance cords. So I think he's closing in on it. I mean, technically on the injury report said he didn't practice, which means he didn't do the team stuff. But the way it seems like is that it's heading towards a good possibility, a better possibility at least this week that he plays on Sunday. And so that'll obviously be a huge help for them.
John, the defense is probably not going to get any better anytime soon, and they're playing the Browns this week, who are going to run right at them. What do they do about that? Do they just have to play shootouts all the time now? Is that what they're going to be?
It certainly seems like that, because while Cleveland can probably run on most teams just because of the talent that they have on that roster, you can't sleep on Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham. And if Baker Mayfield's on, I mean, I certainly think he'll be as pumped and motivated as ever playing, against the Cowboys in his home state. Against these DBs, I mean, we see it watching on TV. I'm sure he's gotten himself some good all 22 footage of how they defend on the back end. And I'm sure he's kind of, chomping at the bit to try and maybe get some deep throws on this secondary. I can't imagine any quarterback wouldn't. So, the running game is, you absolutely have to stop that. I mean, Hunt and Nick Chubb, I mean, that's as good of a 1-2 punch as there is in the league. So you have to stop that to begin with. But at the same time, you got to be way better on the back end. You can't be having Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry just running around free and like the way you saw DK Metcalf at times and Tyler Lockett at times.
John, they're 1-2. Each game's been incredibly close, just a matter of one score in each and every one of those. They very well could be 0-3. They very well could be 3-0. They're obviously a very, very good 1-2 team. And the schedule the next couple of weeks, I mean, lightens up a little, I guess. Cleveland, who knows, but New York, we know, is not a very good team. What's the players' mentality? It's early, but sort of what is the feeling at 1-2 inside the locker room from what you've gathered?
It's really that it's early. That's the message they're pushing. Whether they believe it or not, that's at least what they're saying, is that, there's no hitting the panic button for them. Ezekiel Elliott said that today. This is something that they knew there were going to be some growing pains with not having any of an off season and really having just a very small training camp and no preseason games. So they knew, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that this wasn't going to be some quick fix because they weren't going to be doing the same stuff they've done in previous years. So having a new coaching staff, this is probably the worst year you could have brought in a new coaching staff just because of what COVID has done in terms of preparation leading into the season. So I feel like from what I gather from the players is that they look around that locker room and they see how much talent is there. And they feel like the only thing that's holding them back right now is just the continuity of playing together. And once they get that, I do get the feeling that they believe they can hang with any team in the NFC, and they should believe that. I mean, as long as they can get healthy and be healthy at the right time, and the defense gets at least a little bit better, that offense should be able to put up points against anybody in the NFL, which will, whether people like it or not, is going to just turn these games into a lot of what we've seen up to this point. Like if you got something going on earlier in the game, you got some errands you got to run. Take care of that, but just make sure you tune in for the last 5 or 6 minutes.
So true.
Yeah. John, I've asked this of a couple people about Mike Nolan, and I'm not trying to get on him personally. It's just Mike McCarthy's decision to bring him in, given the fact that they don't appear to have the personnel that matches what he does. Eventually they'll probably have to do that if they keep Mike Nolan, but it doesn't seem to be, at least for him and for what's on the roster right now, if they want to win today, that was a good choice.
Yeah, he seems to really like the veteran defensive coordinators, So I would say, yeah, when he hired him, I thought it was a little bit of a surprise. I'm not saying that I knew who he would go with, but he obviously has a long track record. And so there was no secrets about what was on this roster. Lawrence was already signed. Jalen Smith's already signed. And they already saw that, they knew they weren't bringing back Byron Jones. They weren't going to bring back Robert Quinn. And so, you add Aldon Smith and then eventually add Everson Griffin. They kind of knew what they had. And so, obviously blame will be put on everyone. I'll just say this. I know it hasn't looked great in these first 3 weeks, but at least on offense, you can sit there and say, there was carryover because of Kellen Moore. There was no carryover on that defense. Like, the only carryover you were going to get is if they possibly stayed in a 4-3. Well, it's hard to do that when the defensive coordinator has more of a history with a 3-4, number one, and number two, without question, your best defensive player, without question, is Aldon Smith, and his best fit is a 3-4. So it's going to be interesting how they try and get this worked out and get it working together. My big thing on this is that while all that goes on, I understand that other teams are going to score points. The inexcusable part of the guys running free. We've seen it way too much in the Falcons game. We saw it way too much in that Seattle game. There cannot be these coverage busts where there are NFL receivers and tight ends running around without another man around them within 10 or 15 yards. That cannot happen. That has to be cleaned up.
Yeah, can you clean that up in a week?
I don't believe so. I don't think you can. I think it's going to take a while. Because here's the thing, a lot of people would love to see them go get Earl Thomas. But even at Earl Thomas, where he's at in this stage of his career, is he better than the safeties on the Cowboys roster? Yes, I feel very confident in saying that. But I also don't know that he's that much better to the point where, it's just going to fix everything. They have what they have on that back end, and it's just not going to get fixed in 1 week. I think the hope with them is that every week it gets a little bit better. And then obviously your greatest hope is that Trayvon Diggs continues to go down the path he is, because they look like they got a steal in the second round by getting Trayvon Diggs. With that being mentioned, I also want to note that he was on the injury report today with not only the shoulder, which he had last week, but then now he has a knee injury on there. But he was a full participant in practice. Tough dude. The way you've seen him play, on these Sunday games, not just his coverage. He doesn't hesitate going on there and sticking his nose in there and making some tackles. So physical corner, he's your greatest hope on that secondary, that he can continue to progress and maybe he starts getting some takeaways.
So, John, how do you think they match up with Cleveland?
I actually think they match up with them similar to some of these previous games. They match up with them like it's going to be a good shootout. Yeah, of course, styles make fights, and maybe it gets into one of those type of games where Cleveland is dead set on running the football, and the Cowboys answer with doing the same, especially if Tyron can play. And then they do with Zeke has Zeke didn't play well this past week, but if he plays the way he did in the first 2 weeks, maybe it turns into a running back going back and forth like that. But I just think when Dak has been at his best here with this, new group of receivers, with CeeDee Lamb being, added in the mix, they've been at their best when they've been throwing more. And so, and it seems like that's what Mike McCarthy likes to do. And so if you like low scoring games, I don't think this can be the one for you. I think this one's getting up. I think you're going to need 30, 35 points to win this one too.
It's amazing because you mentioned struggles in the secondary. Of course, it looks like Diggs is going to be a good one, but if you could just have any semblance of the depth in the secondary that you have now, with Cedric Wilson stepping up, Gallup, who's a big play receiver, CeeDee Lamb, And then, of course, Amari Cooper. And then even Noah Brown caught a big third down, I think it was, catch last week to kind of extended a drive. It is insane right now, the depth they seem to have at wide receiver. They would beg for that in the secondary, wouldn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if part of that is kind of the fact of just because so many college teams are spreading things out and using so many more wide receivers, that I just feel like it might be easier to find a solid number 3 or 4 receiver, maybe easier than another corner, because, I really feel like this is the time when the Chidobe Awuzies and the Jordan Lewises and Xavier Woods should be stepping up. I mean, they've got years under their belts now. And, I mean, Jordan was a third-round pick. Cheeto was a second-round pick. I mean, they should be getting something out of those guys. Now, you obviously have to be healthy on top of it. But, you look at wide receiver, and you mentioned some of those guys you get. I mean, it wasn't a significant investment. It was a 6th-round pick to get Cedric Wilson. Same Noah Brown, late-round pick. I mean, you didn't need to invest much to get really good production out of those guys. Now, of course, you invested significantly in Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, but then you got Michael Gallup in the 3rd round. If we're doing the comparisons between the two, Michael Gallup is a 3rd-round pick. Jordan Lewis is a 3rd-round pick. You'd love for Jordan Lewis to be the cornerback version of Michael Gallup. Their secondary would be in great shape, but then you watch that game on Sunday, and while Jordan Lewis has a nose for making plays, he has not been good in coverage. He's grabbing too much. He's getting flagged. He can come up and he can make some big-time tackles. He's great on blitzes and things like that. It almost makes you wonder, maybe he should be playing a little bit more safety. But, yeah, they just haven't gotten the return on investments on their defensive backs. And I have to think, going into next offseason, that's got to be their number one thing, whether they dress it in the 1st round, 2nd round, free agency. The defensive back, that has to be fixed. That's the biggest glaring weakness on this team.
Well, John, they have ignored the safety position for the better part of a decade now in the draft, really, in free agency. I mean, that's when they've kind of, I say ignored, but I mean, that's where they kind of save their money.
Oh, no question. More so than any other team.
Yeah.
At any position I can even compare it to, it would be safety. And I just don't get the feeling, from people you talk to, just being around the building, I don't get the feeling that the philosophy has changed that much there. I really don't. If Xavier Woods is in a contract year, if they don't bring him back, then I don't think that they're going to draft significantly at safety. When I say spend significantly on defensive back, I mean adding other corners, another big play type corner to add on the outside, maybe to play opposite of Diggs going forward. But at safety, I still don't I don't know, man. Even 2nd round, I feel like might be too early for them. I think it might be, 3rd, 4th round, but they're going to have to address it somehow because they just don't have the guy. I think Darian Thompson is a fine player, but it's in spurts. I just don't think that Darian Thompson can be one of your starting safeties in an entire season. So, but this is what you have, and it doesn't seem like they're bringing in any veterans, and it doesn't sound like they're interested in bringing in any veterans to significantly upgrade those positions.
Jerry likes the bells and the whistles, the glitz and the glamour. Thank you, John. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you very much. That's John Machota, theathletic.com, covers the Cowboys with us on Wednesdays at 5 o'clock. And then coming up in a little bit, it'll be Kwame Cavill, head coach at Waco High.
Did they actually lose their best safety when Jeff Heath went to the Raiders in the offseason?
Yes, they did.
You know what he did? He was a scapegoat for when things went wrong, and I think it's because, he's just the slow white safety.
It's because he's a white guy,
but he made some big plays over the years.
He led them in interceptions over the last
he made
4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
so,
I'm not saying he was flawless, but because he wasn't.
No,
but
and look,
he at least up here knew kind of where he was supposed to be.
But he was a free agent.
The bootleg against Goff is another one where,
Yeah, but he was a free agent, and he was not somebody you were going to get in a bidding war with. No. If he was going to walk, you're going to have to let him walk.
You can rely on him enough.
Yeah.
Can you? Okay.
All right. You were also spending, fist over fist. You're spending, what is the phrase?
Hand over fist.
Hand over fist on everybody else. So at some point you don't have money to pay even a guy like a Jeff Heath and
CeeDee Lamb, a 1st-round pick, 2 1st-round picks for Amari Cooper, Cedric Wilson, a 6th-round pick, Noah Brown, a 6th or 7th-round pick, Michael Gallup, a 3rd-round pick. There was a expense there.
Well, the best, I'm just looking for next year in free agency, where the Cowboys don't do this. So just to let you know who the best free safeties are coming up, and they're averaging $11 million right now, or safeties, would be Justin Simmons from Denver, Anthony Harris from Minnesota, and Kareem Jackson, also from Denver, who's 33 years old.
Yeah, so. TJ, I'd kill on the Riverbend Liquor and Wine hotline. I would kill for Jeff Heath right now. When we come back, Kwame Cavill, head coach at Waco High.
Not next segment.
Okay, they'll come back. We'll update the baseball playoffs because a couple more games have gone final. Some series have been extended. National League all started today. Game 1 tonight, NBA Finals, Miami and Lakers in the bubble. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Waco Custom Marketplace. Armstrong has never seen the product, and he's about to, because I went over there today to get my monthly pickup. There are bone-in ribeyes the size and thickness of my forearm, and I don't even have a lot of muscle. And then there are the bacon-wrapped fillets. And there are even I got some nice, thick pork chops. Really nice, like butterfly pork chops. And then there's always, every single month, I want to get myself a bag of the deveined shrimp that's frozen, but it's so simple and it's delicious. You can't tell it's been frozen. And I put that in jambalaya and gumbo, or sometimes just on the grill. And man, it's delicious. Sometimes it's stir fry, and I might be doing that even tonight. I'm not so sure. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for the tailgating. All the tailgating, there's not a lot going on. There's not a lot going on over across the street from McLean Stadium. But when you see the Sikkim 365 location and the trailer, and when you see Hobby Howe and his location, and when you see Edward Jones, one of our sponsors, and what they have with John Maddox, who starts bright and early, depending on game time and kickoff. Those guys go to Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive. It could be for something as simple as things like skirt steak for fajitas. Could be chicken wings or some sort of chicken product. And the sausage, if you want tri-tip, if you want brisket, they have that. You can walk into Waco Custom Marketplace like I did earlier today, and they have like a tub, like a freezer. It's an open-faced freezer, and inside of that, one big monstrous brisket after another. And then for you personally, if you want to cook steaks, they will customize the thickness of what you want when it comes to ribeyes, bone-in ribeyes, and much, much more. And then on the other side, to the right, when you walk in the front door, the bakery, pre-cooked meals that are thick, from anything like chicken spaghetti to even beef tips on rice. Very, very good. Plus the bakery with kolaches, fresh kolaches, every single morning. And whatever's left over, they have a refrigerator freezer on the left side, of which you can get a whole bag of them, so you can use that whenever you want. Cake, cookies, and pastries. Waco not free, but cold beer and also wine. If it was free, we'd never be able to get through the front door. Cold beer and wine on the right side with their big, monstrous refrigerator to the right side, and soft drinks. Waco Custom Marketplace, your tailgate location, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Dodge is the highest-ranked brand in initial quality according to J.D. Power. Now at Allen Samuels. Get special offers on Dodge cars and SUVs. Dodge Charger SXTs are now available with 2.9% financing for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Dodge Journey has 2.9 for 72 or choose up to $4,750 in cash and subprime offers. Performance. Dodge from Allen Samuels.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance, and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The Sikkim 365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
Paul Catalina is about to become my tech webmaster. He's mad at me. Microsoft Outlook. I added a new email address, and we're trying to figure that out. Eli Drinkwitz calls the reporting of COVID-19 testing in the SEC a kind of a free-for-all. It's not surprising.
Great.
Gus Malzahn said he would be in favor of such a policy, which means a uniform policy for that's above my head, according to Drinkwitz. For me, transparency is really good, so I'd be all for it. Alabama has chosen not to disclose the number of positive tests. Football players citing privacy laws. Baylor's been about as transparent as you could possibly be. Even in fact, this week I never saw.
They didn't put it out at the normal time.
Yeah, they didn't. It was like Wednesday, not Monday. Or
I know there was apparently I did see a tweet where there was, I don't know, let's say they had gotten down to like 50 active cases on campus, and then today it jumped by like 29. So I don't know what happened between yesterday and today that like there was basically 30 new cases that were reported on campus. But figure that out quickly, please, and I'm sure that they are. But, yeah, I mean, we all know the SEC is the dirtiest of the bunch. We all know that. They embrace it. They have pride in that. And it's not shocking that if anybody was going to try to fiddle with, being transparent about COVID-19 and who can play and who cannot play, it's no surprise the SEC is being somewhat closed off with their information. I mean, is anybody surprised by that?
No.
I'm not. It's all about winning, competition. And, it's just something I don't think is really all that much of a problem unless you have a problem on campus. And the only reason I think you wouldn't want to report it is not competitive advantage, because they're not asking you to name the players by name or position. It's just that they want to keep playing no matter what. So even if they got 25 guys that are out, they don't have to put that information out. They keep moving forward.
Well, and Alabama just has their red shirt program, which is their 5 stars on hold. All right, baseball school. Go ahead.
But Gus Malzahn in that article says, I'd be for transparency. They should, there shouldn't be anybody who's not for transparency.
No.
There's nothing left to win.
I just caught you with a negative comment about me.
First of all, that you shouldn't do that. But I was telling Colt because of this.
I saw Colt laid up. I saw my name.
Yeah. I said every time I have to help you with Outlook, I die a little inside.
But Athletics beat the White Sox 5-3. That series now is over. White Sox, that series is now one apiece, right? Mm-hmm. Rays 8-2 now lead the Blue Jays in the 7th. Rays are trying to close that one out. Padres 6-3. They are trailing at home against St. Louis. That just began. Braves won in 13th. Freeman with a walk-off base hit lead the series with Cincinnati 1-0. Astros have swept Minnesota 3-1 today. That series is over. They now just move on. They get to wait a couple of days. Florida Marlins beat the Cubs 5-1. Series 1-0 Miami tonight. The Yankees try to close out Cleveland. They won last night, Game 2.
I guess that means that Darvish is going to have to save the Cubs season.
Hey, he's had a Cy Young year.
Fantastic. He's been fantastic.
He could be the Cy Young Award winner, although Trevor Bauer, among others. Is that Bauer? Is that right? Yeah, it is. Could be a part of that mix. All right.
I'm surprised they didn't throw Darvish in Game 1, but
he's had a year that everyone probably expected. It was a shortened year, but he's had a hell of a year. He had some good years with the Rangers, and then eventually just didn't. He was Tommy John or whatever it was.
And sometimes I think, they don't have Tommy John. Their elbow's getting worn out, and then eventually it just pops.
Wasn't he like 8-2 or something like that?
Should have had about 4 no-hitters as a Ranger, by the way.
Yeah, 8-3, 2.01 ERA, and 12 starts. Let's see, 93 strikeouts, a WHIP of under 1.96. So, really, really, really fantastic year for you, Darvish.
He had a good year. He had a Cy Young Award. At least should be getting some votes. Whether he wins it or not remains to be seen. When we come back, Waco High's Kwame Cavill. I spoke with him last week when I went by and got the helmets that we put up on Fridays when we don't have a game, which we did Friday, and he felt better. Now, he understands that they're swimming upstream, but they have Hutto, who was blasted by a really 5A team in College Station that can beat most 5As. They have Hutto next, so I had a chance to visit with Kwame Cavill. They're 1-0. That's a nice start. They've played University before to start the year and won those games as well. But this one seemed a little bit different. We'll see. They have a very difficult road ahead of them with that district they're in. He's next on Sikkim 365 Radio. IdealMRI.com, the title sponsor of this show. And let me tell you something. Rob Maxey and that staff do an unbelievable job of what they do. And what they do is making sure if you have something that's a bump or a bruise, yeah, you kind of know that. But in case it's a little bit more painful than that, maybe a ligament problem, maybe bone, maybe something broken. You probably feel that way, but sometimes you still have to make sure. And your doctor says, hey, we need to get an MRI. That's where Ideal MRI comes into play. Doctors know what they do, and they can help save you. On average, an MRI can be $1,100. Ideal MRI can get you an MRI for under $500 every single time. And then there won't be some sort of a trail of hidden costs that come in the mail or in your email inbox along the way. $497. That's Ideal. Premium quality MRIs. I've been inside their MRI machine. I've been through the process of getting something scheduled, an appointment, going through when I get there. It doesn't take long. And they're being smart about what everything's disinfected and all the mask and all that, what you need. And then talk to the techs and specialist and then go through the MRI. And believe me, I've been spooked about a couple of them before because that can be a little bit itch. Yeah, you go inside that thing. It depends. It was flawless. It was fantastic. I did get my results later that evening, and I got a call from Dr. Rob Maxey to explain them to me, and then he sent me a disc that I could send to my doctor who had done my rotator cuff surgery in Dr. Haynes at Southwest Sports Medicine. Ideal MRI, first of all, it's about trust. Yes, that's important. Secondly, about price. Yes, that's important. And customer service, absolutely important. Premium quality MRIs, convenient, affordable, and that's IdealMRI.com.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, specializing in diagnosis and treatment of any and all sport-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service to Central Texas. They tackle all surgical and non-surgical problems that arise from an active lifestyle. Trust the doctors that Baylor trust, and when injuries sideline you, don't wait for Monday. Join us at 8:30 on Saturday mornings for a post-game injury evaluation clinic. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. We get you back in the game.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T is board-certified physician consultations, will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
Listen, in the past couple of years, we've had a lot of people moving in from out of state to Waco thanks to Chipper and JoJo. And while we welcome these new citizens, they unfortunately brought some of their bad habits with them. Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters, and you know what I'm talking about. Naked trucks. You'd think everyone moved here from McNewtville, but we shouldn't judge them, we should help them. For example, when you see a recent transplant truck from a less civilized state like California, instead of saying, "Your truck is disgusting, your bed is exposed, get a bed cover on that truck, buddy," that's a bit harsh. Instead, try something like, in Texas, it's not polite to drive around with your bed exposed. Maybe you should check out the excellent selection of bed covers at Pickup Outfitters. And then if they refuse, you can say, "Well, I hear New Mexico's a nice state." Let's help our new neighbors and let them know that truck nudity is not okay. Let them know about Pickup Outfitters of Waco and send them to our website, createacommotion.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
This segment with Waco High Lions football coach Kwame Cavill is sponsored by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine.
Kwame, listen, there haven't been many wins, and obviously this one here, back and forth, tug of war, and I saw you last week, and you felt like you've, again, turning the corner, a methodical, slow process. Your thoughts about just getting the win to open the year?
It's exhilarating, to be honest with you. I mean, this went to me and to the organization and to everybody involved to help us get to this point. Than anything, because of everything we've go through and everything our kids have gone through. Leading up to this moment, I mean, you take, like you said, there hadn't been too many wins, so our seniors were, for their senior year. And also just because we've been through a whole lot. You got the pandemic, you got social issues have been going on, and just the overall, I wouldn't say interrupted, but just unnormal ways that things have been with virtual and in-person learning, and there's been a whole lot of factors that factor into your normal preparation that we've had in the past couple of years. That when you get to this point, when you get to a win, after all that, it just feels a little bit more than usual.
Do you think because of everything you've been through, being down at times during the game on Friday, it wasn't like compared to life, it was not that big of a deal, even though you want to win the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think our team is just different, man. I mean, we got some guys that have, I think to be honest with you, just the off season that we've had has brought us more closer together as a unit. I mean, you understand that, we've been at this since May with, Zooms and and all city meetings and, workouts and just, our kids have, I asked our kids to come to practice and prepare during a pandemic. And you got other kids or other, that some of their parents weren't comfortable with that, and they committed to that. So my hat goes off to the Lion Country parents, singers, just our organization, coaches, school itself. I mean, a lot of factors that go into win week to week, and the fact that we were able to get through that, helps just builds us, makes us stronger as a group. So to answer your question, we understood that it wasn't life or death, and then this group is different. They're more closer than ever because of that.
Your quarterback, Nate Reyna, was very efficient, throws a couple of touchdowns, nearly 200 yards passing. How have you watched him grow up in front of your eyes?
Well, leaps and bounds from last year. Davion Long out. So, he's been through a lot. When I first got here, he was a little disinterested, so he had to mature up as a QB. So and as a person itself, so he's growing just exponentially. And, the sky's the limit for him as far as, because he still has his hasn't reached that, more to work on. So for him to have that success, it's just a testament to his hard work. He's hard work and growing at the league. The kids follow him. We follow him. So it's a beautiful thing to watch. You feel like a proud papa at times with these kids.
I bet you do. Final thing, huddle coming up this week, and obviously then you guys get moving into the district play. Your thoughts about your team, and I'm sure they are now completely focused, especially when you have success with things you've been trying to preach for a couple of years. And at the same time, when you win, they got to make sure they don't understand that, okay, we're pretty good. They got to stay focused. Is that a battle this week?
Always. We're still a young organization. Our tradition, the pride and win tradition of Waco Lions will never be entrusted to the weak nor the timid. That's one of our credos. And, just learning how to win as an organization, as a coach, as a staff, that's a process. And learning how to deal with prosperity is a process. And, our kids, we do a good job of telling the truth to them, and letting the eye in the sky never lies. So as good as they think they are, the film usually, humbles you a little bit. That's why you watch film. And it's up to us as coaches to keep them you never want to be too high, never want to be too low. So I have that workers mentality every day and every moment. And, we go by the win moniker, which is what's important now. And if you focus on what's important now, day to day, week to week, trying to just go 1-0 every day, it kind of breaks it up from you. It kind of puts a little humbleness to it and makes our kids understand that, every day you have to win. You have to win that day and, leading up to the game. So as long as we keep that type of mentality, we'll never be too high, never be too low, and we'll have that same even kill going into week to week. And that's what you need, because Texas, as well as I know, you've been covering it longer than I've been living. You know how this thing works, man. You have to take that, because it's every given Thursday, Friday, Saturday in this place, man. These kids, these other organizations, they work hard just as much as you do, and it's the talent pool in Texas is spread out. So you have to be able to bring your A game every day as a staff and as a player, because everybody else is. So we're going to look at it like that. Huddle is a great team. Coach LaPlante has his guys going. They're coming off a loss, and if I know him like I know him, he's going to be ready to play. He's probably been telling them how terrible they are, so they can't wait to get back at it. So it's gonna be a big time. It's our first road game, so it's a test, and I can't wait.
Kwame Cavill, head football coach at Waco, Ohio. It was great to see you last week. Thank you, Kwame. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. All right, thanks to Kwame Cavill. I was over at the Fieldhouse last week to get that helmet for our setup, and he just seemed like he's in much more comfortable. As we have mentioned many times, that, by the way, it's a struggle because of the district that they're in, and they're still trying to figure out who they are and what they're going to do. But he does seem like he's got a little confidence, which is good. He's always had confidence.
Yeah.
It's been the problem as far as what they have to do. And Reyna, the quarterback, played very well for them.
Yeah, and that school, I mean, the landscape of that school has changed in the last decade, and they're no longer the one that has the most talent.
Or numbers.
Or numbers, like they were for the longest time. They owned Waco. Now they're a little bit behind that.
They're behind Midway, La Vega. I mean, we put Connolly. I mean, how far would you go before you got to Waco High over the area schools?
Oh, right now?
They're at least the best 4, right? Behind La Vega, Connolly, Midway.
Crawford, you're talking
China
about
Spring,
China Spring. Yeah, China Springs kind of got it. They're trying to rebuild and I say rebuild. They're trying to put their heads back above water because they've had a couple of teams that have gotten away from them with their overall record. Non-district got away from them, but we'll see what happens. But they do look to be a pretty good football team. Yeah, Mart,
yeah.
So as far as the schools in McLennan County, they're I think well past the down in that level. If you look at their overall numbers. Other than University High or a couple of schools that just haven't been winning,
Well, that was the score I was happy to see on Friday was that Waco High score. I was glad to see them get that win over West Mesquite. So kudos to Kwame and company, and a great way to start for them.
Yeah. All right. I just had, and I'm not sure how many, I've got a lot of high school coaches we've been told. In fact, it was a really nice comment on the forums about the high school coverage. We appreciate that. And even Daniel, I mentioned that. I just had a school that's a Central Texas 6A school. Now, you can count them on 2 hands, pretty much, that had a game not this weekend, but next weekend that's not going to happen. And so he's looking for somebody. He doesn't really want me to put the name out because he doesn't want to get like Allen says, hey, I need a game. And have to say, well, so I'm about to put something up on Twitter. If you know some high school coaches in 5A and 6A, he's looking for a game. And I'm going to try to help him out a little bit.
What a weird year this just continues to be. Crazy. And it's just, and I know that this happens. I've seen you do this before in the middle of a season where a team has, some injuries or something happens, like there's a weather thing that's happening in their place and they get it canceled. And so you try to find another, okay, who else was playing somebody down in that part of Texas? Can our 2 teams get together and play? Because we know it's Tuesday. We know on Friday they're going to get hit with a hurricane. So, there's been that. But this is
crazy. Yeah, this is crazy. I will say one piece of news that I found pretty interesting today was the NHL has come out and have crowned their Stanley Cup champion. And did you talk to your brother Philip at all about the Tampa Bay Lightning winning the Cup?
He's a big Penguins fan. It's time for me to kind of have a
You know how if you're living in a city, you bandwagon if the town you're living in is all of a sudden in the playoffs and the whole city's all into it. But the NHL has come out today and said they have no plans for a bubble in 2021. And a lot of the players have said that it was the hardest time of their lives as athletes living in that bubble and not being able to go out and having to adhere to all those rules. So the NHL's already come out and said they don't plan on a bubble for next year. And guess what? There's already, oh my God, I can't believe, we have no idea what the world's going to look like.
Considering they put one together in a month and a half this year, they have no plans in a bubble because they're hoping for the best.
Right.
That's what they're hoping for. So let's not freak out. The NHL was being optimistic.
Right. And I'm sure it's some of the usual suspects that's not actually the majority. But, yeah, I guess there has been already some backlash to that. I guess like there was backlash to college football coming back and just besides some cancellations, what's been the issue other than none? Yeah. So I love that news. I think it's great, and I hope that it works out that way because that would be a rather large step to return into, I know we're tired of saying this, the new normal or whatever, but it would be not having to play in a bubble for several months in a row.
Yeah, no, I agree. And again, this immediacy, oh my God, it's just...
And it's a small portion, I'm sure. Like, I didn't see it myself, but apparently there was enough that they mentioned it in the story.
It's like yesterday's.
There was backlash.
Yesterday's story with Chelsea Whitaker, visited Baylor, right? Did this incredible, hey, let's talk about police and detectives and law enforcement and what is out there now. And so she visits with the Baylor women's basketball team, a former player at Baylor, one of the more popular players ever. Mm-hmm. She does visit with them. Everybody was doing what you're supposed to do with social distancing in the mat. And so they take a picture. And the team picture with her of course they're not wearing a mask for like 2 minutes. And what it wasn't, man, that's fantastic that Chelsea Whitaker came down to discuss this with a lot of women on that team who may have questions. Black or white players, doesn't matter. And she comes back to help the program and help them understand what maybe the police department side of things and educate them on, yes, these are also things we have to do better. And the very first thing they get is, how come no one's wearing a mask?
Yeah.
Those are the people that like stay on social media looking for, oh my God. It drives, why?
I don't know.
How do you live that way?
I don't let them affect me in any way. I comment on it, but I don't let it affect me in any way whatsoever. So I'm sure plenty of people do, and that's probably not a good thing. But, yeah, I mean, the bottom line is, regardless of – I mean, everything's got backlash to it is the point. So regardless of all that, it's almost not even worth mentioning backlash anymore unless it's legitimate in some way, because – everything has it. So it's almost like that's the new normal, is just to have the backlash. But I think it's a great move for the NHL. I'm glad that they've stated that, and we'll see if they'll be able to pull it off or not. But they pulled off a very successful regular season and Stanley Cup playoffs. I mean, they did a great job with it. They were the league that was ahead of everybody else as far as when people started coming back. The NBA had some issues with the bubble, and MLB, we know, had a lot of struggles early on. But NHL, for the most part, I mean, they went, like the last 2 months of the season with like zero positive testing whatsoever. Yeah. So, that'll be cool to see. And hopefully that's the norm once again.
Well, and I think that the NHL and the NBA showed that there's an emergency protocol now. You can figure it out. Now they just kind of have to repeat what they did. Baseball, will have to adjust, to what they learned early in the season. And since that part with the Marlins and the Cardinals and, the Indians who shipped off Mike Clevenger to San Diego, by the way, after he did that. So after all that, they figured out what to do. They readjusted. And look, we can deal with this. We're going to be dealing with this for at least the next 6 to 8, 9 months. It's going to be around in some way, shape, or form.
I want to punch you in the face.
Well, I mean, I'm just telling you the truth. I mean, it's just how it is. So it's going to be around in some way, shape, or form. We're going to be dealing with it. It could be a year. I hope not, but it could be. So, everybody's figured ways out, and we're not in the let's just stay in the cave.
Yeah.
Like now we're at least saying, okay, how do we get out of the cave and do?
Armstrong was laughing at me when I said that. Yeah. Not because I wanted to punch you in the face.
No, it's true though, because there was this, promise of or I don't know how much of a promise it was, but this talk of a vaccine by the beginning of the year. That's clearly not going to happen, or at least to the extent. There's been positive news there, but it's not going to happen as quickly as people want. But you know what? We've done it this long. We can do it a little while longer, but I know we don't want to do it forever.
Also, I'll tell you about a vaccine. I've seen enough science fiction movies like I Am Legend to know that I don't want to be in the first wave of that, because I Am Legend's way worse than COVID.
That one snake movie that always gave me a nightmare? That guy started injecting him with whatever snake, and he became a snake.
It was very much a B movie.
Yes.
Like B movie's kind of too high to grade it. It was not.
It will be interesting to see how things change at the end of early November. Just see what the structure and the banter is going to be about. It will.
Because of the election?
Yes, because that's out there too. It's true. It's out there. There's nothing wrong with saying it. It's true. Not that everybody agrees with that. No, this is bad. It's going to last until 2025.
You're not stating an opinion on the election. You're just saying that there will be that, and there will be that, and there will be lots of talk about it for sure.
Best thing I did last night was stay off of Twitter. All right, now
you know what? I'm the dumbest one of the three of us, because
you were right.
I watched the whole thing.
Yeah,
watched the whole thing.
I've done everything I can to just not even go there, because I'm not going to do that. If you guys want to, that's fine. You can do that the rest of the night. All right.
No,
you can't help yourself. Here you go.
I'm just trying to work my way through it emotionally myself alone.
You couldn't help. You couldn't help it. So, all right. Tomorrow, C.J. Wilson, not the former Rangers pitcher, the former Baylor defensive back. Man, he left me a great voicemail. Can't wait to get him on. Tomorrow, Sam Bradshaw. He's already put out the latest on West Virginia and their athleticism and speed and whatever Baylor will deal with. Max Olson. We'll have Pickham, Mickey Spagnola, Midway's Jeff Hume, Ray Biles of Lorena, and also I believe it's going to be Kirk Bowles of the Statesman on UT as they play Who do they play this week?
I don't know. I haven't looked at their schedule. I haven't looked at the Big 12 schedule yet.
Oh, they're playing TCU. They're playing TCU after the craziness.
Who they can't beat anymore all of a sudden.
Well, they'll beat them this time. Mm-hmm. I don't think TCU's winning that game. I saw this comment. I want to eliminate half of our audience as we go off the air here. I know there's a lot of Astros fans out there, and congratulations. I'm not one of those Rangers haters. It's like, screw the Astros. I don't spend my time. I don't spend my energy that I can spend on the things I actually do enjoy and the things that I don't enjoy, which is a big departure from the world we live in nowadays. But apparently after their win today, and congrats, like I said, Carlos Correa said, I know a lot of people are mad. I know a lot of people don't want to see us here, but what are they going to say now? I'm going to say you still cheated.
Yeah.
You're still a cheater. You still cheated, Carlos.
Just because you won the series. And see, all that does is just incite, the best thing you can do about something is just not mention it.
Well, the thing
you're not the good guy. You're not like, because you won this series, like not suddenly guilty of what you guys did. And I'm not going to be hung up on that for forever. They won a World Series. Kudos to them. I don't care. It doesn't affect my life in any way. But what are we going to say now? You cheated, dummy.
I'm not as mad at them for the cheating now as I am for the fact that their whole
they're victims.
They're victims.
Yes.
Like their whole no, you're the a-hole for questioning me about my cheating.
Right.
Come on, man.
The whole playing the victim thing is the only issue I've had with the Astros. And I get the fans are going to rally around the team. And I understand that. That's how it goes. And you're going to, we're getting so, the same thing happened with Baylor, right? They were getting so picked on. Eventually the fan base just rebels because they've been picked on so much. I totally get that. But for him to say, because they won a playoff series, it's suddenly like, well, what now? Come on, dude. You are not a victim in any way. You bent the rules. You got caught. And you sort of face some consequences for it, but not really player-wise. So what am I going to say? I don't know. I have nothing to say. Congratulations on the win today, but it doesn't erase what happened, the last couple of years.
Like he's been holding that in now for a year.
Maybe say that after you win the World Series.
Yeah.
How about that? Maybe say that after you win the World Series.
But not after you beat a team that's lost 18 consecutive playoff games.
Exactly, man. Come on.
All right.
Sorry, Astros fans, but please.
Yeah, that's a little bit of immaturity on his part, but he's been one of the more vocal ones. Thanks to Elliott Coffey. Conley's Shane Anderson, La Vegas Don Hyde. Thanks to Pro Football Hall of Fame safety Ronnie Lott, TexAgs.com's Olin Buchanan, John Machota, TheAthletic.com, and Kwame Cavill of Waco High. Again, a very loaded schedule tomorrow. Armstrong Sims, thank you. JD Pickell just dropped by the studio. We're talking about what we do pre- and post-game Saturday. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, I'm David Smoke. Thanks to all of our incredible sponsors. We're about a week away from 6 months since we began on April the 6th. It's hard to imagine. I'm David Smoke. Thank you for listening whenever you do, however long it might be. And good night on Sikkim 365 Radio. Or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental. Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Parenting is full of surprises.
You never know what to expect.
So after our son was born, I called my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent to set up a life insurance policy in case something happened to me.
Sawyer is now 2.
And we'll soon have a sister. There's no one else I would trust with protecting my family.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.